Hello, mainstreamers and cinephiles and everybody in between. I'm Bryant.
And I'm Caitlyn.
And Operation Silver Screen is a go. Hello, welcome to Operation Silver Screen. Our show's mission is centralized on Caitlyn and I catching up and giving a debrief on must-see films that we haven't yet seen. However, we also have an additional tasking that comes with this assignment, which we refer to as our bonus objective. The goal of this objective is to watch and debrief sequels and remakes of the classics and must-see films. Not only will we review these movies, but also analyze it from the perspective of its predecessors. And Caitlyn, what are we debriefing this week? Is it a requel, a reboot, remake, legacy sequel? What do we have?
To be honest, I'm not entirely sure how to answer that question, but I will tell you that for this bonus objective, we went to Gotham City, New Jersey this week. We just actually got out of the theater from seeing the new Batman movie, and we actually do have a special guest with us as well. It's our friend Colemin. You want to say hi?
Hello.
So we're excited to go ahead and start letting you know our thoughts on this one and kind of going over what we think works when it comes to Batman movies and what doesn't work and what was our expectations for this film. So before we get into it, actually, I do want to say that this section of our podcast will be spoiler-free. A little bit later in the episode, we will be going into our classified section where we'll give spoilers of the story, but we'll let you know when we get to that point. So, as far as Batman movies go, what is your opinion on the collection of Batman movies that there's been? I know there's been several Tim Burton ones, there is a Nolan trilogy. We also had the Justice League, the Batfleck ones recently. So what is your opinion on all the Batman movies that we've had so far leading up to this film?
They keep getting better. They keep improving from the older movie for the most part. I think they do have a few misses in recent years, but for the most part, I think they do keep getting better. They keep getting a little darker, which I kind of prefer over the more colorful ones that have been in the past. So I do think they keep getting a little better.
Yeah, I agree. It does keep getting better. They're trying to find new ways to improve this character. I think it's less of what do you think of the franchise and more of do you like Batman or not? Because I think anyone who likes Batman, there's enough of variation with these films that you're going to find at least one film that you do like in this series, whatever your preference may be.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I will say that I'm not as big of a Batman fan as you two are. As a character, I do enjoy the Gotham City universe, I guess you can say. I like the side characters, I like the villains, and I like Bruce Wayne himself, but sometimes he doesn't always do it for me.
Yeah, is he even in your top 5? Because he's my third favorite superhero or hero in this. Is he even in your top 5?
For DC or all time?
I'm going to say DC, because I'm pretty sure all time is not going to work for
Yeah, definitely not all time. Probably not even. Well, maybe. Wow. He might be. He might be for DC. I don't even know if I really have a top 5 for DC. I like Superman. I like Poison Ivy. Pretty much my favorite DC character.
One's a villain, and I said heroes, but alright.
Heroes.
Well, I don't know if they're a villain anymore.
Yeah, she's not really that big of a villain.
True.
But I also kind of feel like, especially after the Nolan trilogy came out, Batman kind of just seemed like the basic answer. I feel like you're a basic white boy if you said that Batman was your favorite. Because a lot of people, not anything bad to you guys, obviously you're not under that category in more ways than one, but I feel like a lot of people watched the Nolan trilogy, they got really excited about The Dark Knight, and that was most of their experience with Batman, and so when you asked them who their favorite character was, who their favorite superhero was, that was always going to be their go-to, and they didn't have knowledge of any of their heroes outside of that. I would argue that the basic white girl superhero is Tony Stark.
I would say I have no comment as far as the Tony Stark thing. I have no data to support any kind of thought I have on that.
When you had a reaction to that.
I initially thought, I was just like, what is she talking about? That's not true, but now that I'm thinking about it, you might have a point.
Yeah.
That tracks.
White girls love Tony Stark.
To what I've seen and heard, that actually tracks perfect.
Do they like Tony Stark, or do they just love Robert Downey Jr.?
They love Robbie Downey Jr. as Tony Stark.
The same person, I think.
Yes. I would say, I don't think Nolan trilogy was the one to spark everybody loving Batman. I think Batman's been the basic answer for a lot of, I would say for males, for a lot of males, especially in our generation, it's the basic answer of who's your favorite hero for 2 reasons. One, he doesn't have superpowers, so he kind of sets himself aside. But also the 90s Batman series just had a huge influence on our generation growing up. And I think a lot of like even the toys, like almost every male growing up during our time had a Batman toy of some sort. I don't know if you did as well, Coleman. None?
None.
Wow. Okay, never mind. I apparently was privileged.
Just like Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, there you go.
Actually, did I? Not. Yeah, I did. Pretty sure I did. Now I need to call my parents.
I will say I did really like the animated series, and I liked Batman Beyond as well. But that wasn't
Batman Beyond
different.
was good.
Batman Beyond was really good.
Yeah.
Actually, I did have a Mr. Freeze toy. That's all I can remember is that one. It's the only one.
Batman. Mighty Ducks, but I never had Batman.
Oh.
I like.
We'll bring you on for the Mighty Ducks episode.
Yeah, there we go.
I'll bring the toy.
So, going into this movie, were you excited for a new Batman movie?
Yes, I was optimistic and hopeful about this new Batman. I was hoping it would be the reboot that, everybody's looking for.
What did you think about the casting? I know you had some hesitations there.
I always have hesitation when it comes to Batman casting, because he is one of my favorite characters, so, I look at the actor and I'm like, that doesn't seem like Batman to me, just like Ben Affleck. Definitely had, not even mixed feelings, negative feelings about Ben Affleck. So when, they chose, Robert Pattinson. Pattinson.
Yeah, no.
When they chose Rob, they,
Good old Rob.
I was not pleased, but because I feel that Ben Affleck kind of redeemed himself, I was willing to give good old Rob a chance.
Yeah, when they announced good old, Rob, our friend Rob, I was down with the choice. I wasn't overly excited or anything, but I was down to see him as a Batman, and I thought he would work well as a Bruce Wayne. But as far as my excitement with this film, when they first announced it, I was not very excited for it because it was just another Batman film. We've had plenty of Batman films, so I was a little upset to see that a new DC hero wasn't getting a movie because this was inevitable. However, when they announced the casting and then they announced the direction that they were going to go into and they announced the direction with Matt Reeves, I started getting more excited. And then my excitement sparked and almost peaked when the Batmobile was revealed. When I saw the Batmobile, I think, at least for me, that gave me the idea of the tone of the movie, and it supported what I was reading about the direction, and I really just loved the design of the Batmobile for this movie. I see you shaking your head, Caitlyn. I stand by that strongly, and we'll talk about more about the Batmobile, but I was super excited for this film. And then the first trailer came out, and yeah, I peaked at that point, and this became my most anticipated film. One of my most anticipated films for last year until it was delayed, and then became one of my most anticipated films of this year, and I'm glad that we got it early in the year. So I was super excited for this film.
Yeah, I know we just saw this movie, but I do not remember at all what the Batmobile looked like. That's why I'm like, really? I don't even remember it. Yeah, it just kind of seemed pretty generic to me. It wasn't the tank that we got from the Nolan trilogy.
The tank was definitely memorable. This, not so.
This is going to be a controversial subject.
I mean, I don't know. I literally don't know what it looks like.
There was like a 20-minute car chase.
You didn't even see it. It was dark.
You saw enough.
Thank you.
I loved it. Actually, one of my questions for you guys was going to be, what are your favorite Batmobiles? Well, we can do that towards the end, but I can already see where we're kind of going to be in there. I don't think it's going to be a heated debate, but we are going to have some different views. Actually, I think I'm going to have a different view from you guys actually towards the whole franchise of what we liked and didn't like.
Yeah, probably. As far as my excitement for this film, I honestly wasn't excited at all until I saw that Zoe Kravitz was going to have more of a role in this, and Catwoman was going to have more of a role in this, because I really like her, so I was excited to see her come in.
Yeah, Zoe Kravitz. I don't know, I'm speechless.
Yeah, she's gorgeous. Beautiful.
Yeah, I was excited to see that they were actually going to have a Catwoman in it. I do like they had one last time, though definitely could have had more screen time for her. But yeah, I was happy that they actually had her in it, like, as kind of main character.
Yeah, and I'll definitely have some more thoughts about that later as well, about her role in the film. But as far as the previous Batman movies that have come, what are some things in the franchise that you really enjoy that works for you, that you think you wanted to see bring into this film, or that you did see bring in?
I think the character Batman always working these films, whether it's the kind of comic book Tim Burton style you got, or it was the high-tech Nolan. I think that Batman himself was always done right. I think where it lacks usually is when it comes to Bruce Wayne. You don't really see too much of his character, and it's always something I kind of want to explore a bit more. I think one thing that doesn't work for this franchise and worked with the Nolan trilogy more is when they had a focused tone. When Warner Bros. Was first going back between Tim Burton, and then they liked what Tim Burton did, so they gave him the whole project, and then he made something that had mixed opinions about it. He pretty much just turned into a Tim Burton fan. Or Joel Schumacher, again, they did that where they liked what he did with Forever, so they turned their back and they gave him the full reign with it, and then they kind of went too far. And I think Nolan was able to keep it focused. I think something that these films do lack are the villains, which is weird because Batman has one of the greatest rogue galleries out there. But one, the Joker takes up too many of the films. He's used a little too often. And then, again, for some characters, they kind of become the director's villains and not so much the Batman villains that we're used to seeing. You had Danny DeVito as the Penguin, but that, again, was something else pulled out of Burton's circus. You had...
My nightmares.
Yes, everybody's nightmares. Granted, he provided us with our dreams with Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman. But then you had Batman Forever. You had a Two-Face that I don't think was ever really seen aside from that movie.
I like that Two-Face.
We'll talk about, I'm sure we'll talk about that some more. And even in the Nolan trilogy, I don't think the villains were ever explored too much to their fullest potential. They were always kind of cut back from what they could be more, something that we explored more in the animated series. And that's something that's never really worked for me that I was hoping to see more of.
Yeah, I don't think I truly agree with you on the villains. I think that they are very much hit or miss, though. In every single Batman movie, especially if there's multiple villains in a movie, there's always going to be one that doesn't get as much spotlight as the others. But things that worked for me in Nolan's trilogy was the tech. I think the tech in that trilogy was wonderful. I do agree that he also had more concise visions and that went into his movie. And as far as Dark Knight Rises go, I think that was probably the most Bruce Wayne in a Batman film. And for me, that was something that I really liked and probably why it's one of my favorites.
Yeah, the gadgets, I agree. That's another thing that I would say works with these films. Aside from Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, where the gadgets were way too convenient. But Nolan had the best with his high tech. He had his true billionaire, almost military-esque Batman. And I think, yeah, the gadgets are really cool.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with Brian on at least the last part of what he said. The gadgets in the older Batman movies, they were like tailor-made for the situation. No matter what situation the Batman and Robin found themselves in, they always had a gadget for it. Like the skate scene, just ridiculousness. As far as the villains, I'm going to have to agree with Caitlyn. They are a lot of hit or miss, but I do personally really enjoy Scarecrow, and I love that he was in all three of those films. I think that was a nice little callback to the trilogy.
I didn't remember that he was in Dark Knight Rises.
He was the judge.
Yeah.
I think that was one of my favorite scenes, seeing him as a judge of the criminal court.
That was a good part.
That was.
Okay, that's pretty cool. And I would say Joker, obviously, Heath Ledger's Joker was amazing. And I have a lot of problems with Joker, but I think the Jokers that they had, even Jack Nicholson's Joker, even if he was a bit much, he fit for that movie, for what they were going for.
Yeah, and I actually liked Bane. I hate that I like him, but if I pretend he's not Bane, if I pretend he's not, good old T.O. Bane, then I like him. And I know his voice is silly, but after my rewatch, I actually did really like his voice. Because he was a character, he was lively, he was a character of his own, and I felt like he was fleshed out. His ending was not great at all, but I didn't hate him. But like I said, he's not T.O. Bane. He's not the Bane.
I gave you a weird look, and Coleman leaned in. And I think we both looked at you weird for the same reason, because you didn't specify which Bane.
I definitely thought the older Bane. I was just like, wait a second.
I always forget that Bane was in Batman and Robin. I meant sure Tom Hardy Bane.
I would say another thing that works for this film, and I think we can agree, are the Alfreds.
Alfred is always, usually, amazing. Usually.
You're thinking what I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm trying to think of what Alfred you guys are thinking of. I love Michael Caine as Alfred.
Oh, yes.
Oh, he's absolutely the best.
Yeah.
And having Lucius Fox as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
What do you think about one of the reoccurring characters, the Commissioner Gordon? Do you think those usually work?
The older Commissioner Gordon, not so much.
I don't even remember him.
He was there. He was like a bit character, and I think he did one thing. He turned off the freeze thing in like the Batman and Robin movie, but other than that, I think he was just there to tell Batman that the city was in trouble.
I loved him in the Nolan trilogy. I love Gary Oldman's
Oh my gosh,
Mission
yes.
Gordon.
Yes. Gary Oldman, great actor. He nailed that part.
Yeah, say Batman also, what works is that he attracts a lot of he attracts a lot of actors and actresses. So we get a lot of high profile people that want to do these films for better and for worse sometimes. Even though Arnold Schwarzenegger was having fun as his Mr. Freeze, that was a bit interesting. But I know, Coleman, you say you would like a Batman that is not a high-profile actor. What about the villains, though? Are you okay with the villains being high-profile actors, or do you want someone who's a little bit lower? I think so far most of them have been kind of like the Nolan trilogy was a little bit lower because you had Cillian Murphy, Heath Ledger. Yeah, Cillian or Cillian? Cillian Murphy, my bad. Yeah, it's not Cillian.
I was going to let it slide.
I think it's the Mr. Freeze puns that were in my head. Cillian Murphy, Mr. Murphy. And then
Mr. Murphy.
Tom Hardy wasn't too well known at the time.
Yeah.
And Hathaway, though. But yeah, again, do you think having the villains as high profile, does that work for you or does that not work for you?
I don't think that's ever been a problem for me. Like, of probably unpopular opinion, I liked Mr. Freeze. I liked him in the one. I thought he was ridiculous, absolutely, but like him and Poison Ivy. I enjoyed the movie Batman and Robin more than I think anybody else likes to admit. I think people had a good time, but you know.
The Poison Ivy crop top scene.
Which I know what you're talking about now. Yeah,
yeah, we talked about this before.
Yeah. But I do think that we need a Batman or a Bruce Wayne that's like an unknown actor or like a small actor, or like none of these big names. Because when I see the big name actor, I see the actor first, and then I see them trying to play Bruce Wayne, trying to play Batman, and hopefully, eventually, I can get in the mind space of them actually being this character.
I don't think they've been too high profile, though.
Ben Affleck?
Okay, Ben Affleck, yes. Ben Affleck is high.
Good old Rob.
Robert Pattinson wasn't that well known.
High. He's very well known.
Yes.
He's well known for one property, though.
That's well known enough.
But he's definitely well known.
That's like putting Daniel Radcliffe as Batman. Everybody's going to know who he is.
There's so many Pattinson
Daniel
memes
Radcliffe,
around.
He's done a lot more acting than just Harry Potter at this point.
If we took a poll and said, who is this actor? Which movie does he play in? And lists all his movies. Guaranteed Harry Potter's making it number one.
We also have Michael Keaton, who was only known for Beetlejuice at that time. But again, you weren't alive for that casting, so that doesn't matter.
I would have been upset about that, no, most likely.
Christian Bale, I guess. Was he high profile? Maybe.
I don't know. We have different terms of high profile.
Anybody. And I hadn't seen him in anything up until that point. Like, when I think of Christian Bale, I think of Batman. That's who I think of now.
But I do think that it's hard finding an actor that can pull off both Bruce Wayne's side of him and the Batman side of him. Because there's such a difference there in who they are. Or at least the movies capitalize off that. But I don't think they've always been able to play.
I don't think they've always been able to play both, but I wouldn't say it's that hard. Because Batman is not that... The Batman itself is not that complicated. It's not that complex of a character. Not playing two different personalities, and we've seen plenty of, I guess this is the one hero that we see on the big screen more that is living two lives than others, but it's been done before. I don't think it's really that difficult. I think it comes down to the director giving enough screen time and good writing to both sides. I don't think that's really down to the actor at that point.
I don't know. I feel like Keaton, I feel like I liked him as Batman, but I didn't like him.
But I would say for that movie, I didn't get enough Bruce Wayne with him there.
I feel like he's there. I think he was a very old Bruce Wayne.
Oh, he's a very old Bruce Wayne now.
Yeah.
He's going to be a very old Bruce Wayne for the movie coming up.
Oh, is he going to be Bruce Wayne in it?
Yeah, we were talking about that. He's going to be in both the Flash...
As Batman?
Yeah, as Batman.
Oh.
He's going to be in Flashpoint Paradox or whatever they're calling this, Flashpoint. And he's also going to be in Batgirl.
Oh, I'm suddenly less interested.
Thank you.
I'm interested, one, because Michael Keaton's a great actor. I think we have different opinions. I really like Michael Keaton as an actor. And also, when I think of an older Bruce Wayne, that much older Bruce Wayne, I think of Batman Beyond.
And you see Michael Keaton?
No, I don't see...
I'm like, ooh.
I don't see Michael Keaton, but I see the chance to explore a Batman that we've only seen once before. Anything else that works for you or doesn't work for you in the franchise?
I actually have a question for you guys. Is what do you think of Robin, the Batman? Because I know with Nolan's trilogy, he made it clear, like, Robin's never going to be in my film.
Until he was.
But it wasn't.
Well,
I'm pretty sure that was Christopher Nolan just giving a middle finger to his audience.
which I do not appreciate, Mr. Nolan.
I was really mad about that for the longest time, but I got over it.
That's very...
I was thinking about it while I was watching this film as well. I don't think Robin works in live action. I think it's a far-fetched concept in thinking about it on a grounded level to take just imagine the Batmans that we had and then a 14-year-old or a 12-year-old running around next to them. That for me, it doesn't work. All I see is child endangerment. I don't know if it's different for you guys, but for me, I don't see it in these movies, which is weird because there are crazier things that happen in these movies. But for me, I don't know, I can see him teaming up with some of the other Bat family, and that'll be cool. Or if they bring in Nightwing, but as in Robin, as in the children, I don't see it working.
Yeah, see, I want a Robin, but I would like them aged up. And that's what they did in the original, the Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. Obviously, I don't know, but those are the best examples of a Robin in a Batman movie. But I think that the idea that you can't have any kind of sidekicks for it because it won't be grounded, I don't really agree with that. Like, I would like to see an older Dick Grayson again.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The younger Robin, I don't think works in live action because it can't be grounded. Now, if you get an older one who is not like that buddy sidekick, then yeah, that would work better. Like, even looking at the old TV series, and you look past the wacky outfits and everything, they got a older Robin to work next to him, and it works for that. But yeah, I think you would just need an older Robin. That's what would work for me.
I feel like if Nolan had committed to his Robin, like, that would have been perfect for me.
Nightwing would have been alright. If he came in with the Nightwing, maybe not Joseph Gordon-Levitt, but a Nightwing, I think Nightwing could work. And like I said, anyone else in the Bat family, Batwoman. I'm interested to see how Batgirl is going to work out. You also have Darkwing. But the Boy Wonder, I don't see working.
I fully disagree with both of them. I think a Robin could work perfectly. Because, like, the way I see it, Batman needs a Robin. Just because, like, Batman, essentially the character, he's a very scary guy. He's a man dressed up as a bat coming around at night beating up bad guys. Like, if he's rescuing children, the children are going to be scared of him. That's essentially why you need a Robin with him. You need that Robin to humanize Batman. Imagine Batman losing it one day. You need a Robin to bring him back to that point. I mean, I guess he has Alfred, but Alfred's out on the field with him. If Batman sees something bad and he snaps, Robin can bring him out of it. I mean, I guess Nightwing could do that, but Robin, I feel like, is there for Batman to humanize him to the public, to keep him from crossing that line.
Yeah, I do agree with that.
So, you're saying that Robin works better for Batman's PR?
Yeah. Well, that's why he's so colorful. Batman's all in black and Robin's super colorful, so he gets shot at.
No, but I do think that the movies are very much missing a whole side of Batman and Bruce by not having him be this kind of fatherly figure. It's like a whole part of his personality that's just been missing from a lot of these.
Another one that works as well is Batman Beyond. Like, having that, because he was an older teenager at that time, but he was also doing his own thing. I think that's another character.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really want to see, like, a little 6-year-old just doing flips and everything.
He'd be like...
But at least, like, teenager, I guess, age. Yeah,
somebody who goes through a tragedy and Bruce sees and he's like, oh, I can help this kid. And then maybe the kid is, hey, I can help you too. This is a mutually beneficial team-up.
So they come out and Batman says, I'm vengeance. And Robin comes out, I'm a smaller dose of vengeance.
No, it would be like...
I'm a smaller dose of vengeance.
Batman doesn't even know Robin's helping him out sometimes. And then he's like, hey, you can't... It would essentially be kind of like Batman and Robin, just better done. I don't even want to compare it, because then as soon as you compare it, you like immediately lose.
I mean, I think you're kind of describing Catwoman in this movie, because she does that too. She provides him some assistance in this movie, and she's also there representing the other portion of Gotham.
I think he sees her more as a peer, though, whereas Robin would be his ward.
Yeah, his ward.
That's not what they call him.
Come forth, young Steve.
So, speaking of Catwoman, what about Batman love interest? Because there's always one in every film. Well, at least one, sometimes more.
I like a nice-looking blonde just as much as the next guy. However, yeah, these other past films that we had back in the 80s and 90s where they just had cute love interests, but she didn't do anything except for get captured and have to be there for some pivotal moment. I don't think Batman has had the greatest love interest, and I would like to see him have one, because that's where you kind of get a lot of your Bruce Wayne moments as well. That's actually usually what they use those love interests for, is for that character development of the Bruce Wayne character. But I would like to see stronger love interests.
Like, especially in Mask of Phantasm.
Yes, she did.
I think I want somebody who can keep up with Batman. Like, Catwoman, in pretty much all of her past roles, I think has been able to keep up with him, like, not only fighting, but, like, intellectually, and I think that's what he needs, like, on the Bruce side and the Batman side. I'm pretty sure in the last couple movies, they've had scenes where it's been Bruce and Selina, and then Bruce and Catwoman, so I think that's what he needs. I don't think he needs to be messing around with any civilian that he has to hide his identity from, and then it's a whole big thing, and none of that. I don't want any of that. I want them to be, like, the dynamic duo.
Yeah, I agree. I think it works best when it's Catwoman and not just a random chick. Sorry, random chicks, but you bore me. You're basic. It would be interesting to see, like, Talia, but not how it was done in Rises.
Agreed, yes.
Yeah, Talia's another good one. Talia is a good one. With both of those characters, though, they're able to experience both sides of him. So it's a little bit harder to make a love interest, give her plenty to do or to be a complex character and developer and such, but only focusing on one side of him. I think that's where the Bat family comes in and is strong, and that's why I think no one has really asked so much for a love interest for him, because the Bat family is there to be the humanizing portion of him.
So we talked a lot about what works and doesn't work in this franchise, but let's go ahead and get into this current film, The Batman, and what our overall opinion was of this film. This will be our spoiler-free section. Go ahead and start us off, Coleman.
I was excited for it. I was pretty excited to watch it. I was disappointed by it. I was not a fan of this film. I think I like Ben Affleck better as Batman, honestly.
Wow.
And Christian Bale, of course. I like those two. Those two are my favorite Batman. Good old Rob just doesn't do it all the way, I don't think. Like, it wasn't a really bad film. Like, it wasn't the beginning films, the beginning four, I guess. But it definitely, I think they took a step back with these films in certain ways.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. I think for me, especially the first maybe hour of this was almost unwatchable. It was frankly boring, and there were camera decisions that were just awful. The film was very dark, and the film was very blurry. I don't know who they had behind the camera for their focus puller, but they need to be fired because this film was blurry, it was dark, I couldn't see anything, the tone was weird, but it did get better. I do think it got better as the film went on, and there are things that I really liked about this film in general, but I agree, I think it was, I don't want to say it's disappointing because there are aspects of this film that I think were very well done, and I liked the overall story that it was trying to do. And actually, as I was watching it, I actually thought, you know what, I wish this was a video game. This would make a very cool video game. And I almost wish I could have had that rather than the movie in parts. There are things I really like about this, and we'll talk more about what I really liked. But yeah, I have mixed feelings, and like I said, that first part of the movie was, it was rough for me.
For this film, like I said, I was super excited for this. First thing about this film, I think it lives up to its title. This is The Batman, and I read before seeing this film, they were saying that the Batman is in most of the scenes in this movie, which was an interesting take. I thought they were just talking about just Bruce Wayne and Batman, but no, Batman himself, costume and all, is in a large portion of this film. I actually really like this film. I knew I was going to be the odd one out on this. Like I said, for a lot of these questions and things, I told you we had different opinions, and I was going to probably be the odd one out on a lot of these points during this podcast. I'm trying to think about the first hour of this film, and I was not bored at all. Actually, my attention was kept throughout this film. I will agree that some things were sloppy with this film. I agree with you, the technical aspects of this movie were not strong, which was weird because it was Matt Reeves, an experienced director, that was behind this. I feel like he was experimenting with some things. Because he is an experimenter, because we have the Apes trilogy before this.
Oh, is that what he did?
That's what he did.
Ooh, that explains it.
Also explains Andy Serkis. And that movie is known for its CGI and a couple different groundbreaking technical aspects. So I feel like he was kind of playing around with the camera, but I don't think this was the movie to play around with. He should have went out and did his own thing. Yes, the focus pull, I see what they were trying to do, and that's why I said I think he was being experimental, because he was hiding things in the background for you to see, which I thought was cool. Like when you see Catwoman for the first time, and she's getting set up in her suit, that's what the focus is, but if you look in the background, you can see she has all these tools and everything, suggesting that she's doing a little bit more than just getting dressed in a different outfit for the night.
Some of it I think was intentional, but then other times it just looked sloppy. Like there would be like written words on the screen. I'm like, am I losing my vision here? Like, do I need glasses?
I think the cinematography too was, again, I think he was being experimental because some of it was some really good shots, and then others, they were unconventional shots. Like they weren't shots that you usually see. There were like some GoPro shots that he was doing, like the flight scene. The flight scene when he first takes flight was really cool. I liked how they set that up and everything. But then, again, with the camera focuses, it was kind of weird. You started laughing in the theater. I started kind of snickering a little bit. And then there was another scene where a car is upside down and he's walking next to it. And then he just kind of slowly creeps and looks under it. And it's so, I know life is not polished, but a movie is polished. And for that scene, he's supposed to be this sinister being, and it wasn't there. You know, he's supposed to be threatening, and this, it looked like he was just playing peekaboo.
I literally thought that in my head. I was just like, peekaboo. I was just like, what?
Like, it started off cool, like, okay, it's inverted camera, whatever, inverted scene. And then he, like, walked up, and, like he said, he did his little peekaboo moment, and I was like, oh, no. Never mind.
Yeah, it's just, some things could have been tightened up with the editing, which is weird, because they did 100 takes with Paul Dano on some of the scenes. Or one scene in particular, I forgot which one it was. There were no scenes that I really saw that was like, oh, that's a perfect moment right there. Speaking of the Riddler, I think he was good and then he was not good. Again, they kind of let Paul Dano do his thing, but the director should have been there to tell him, hey, you got to pull it back some. Because sometimes I think his performance, I think he was chewing up some scenery underneath that mask. I think the breathing, you started laughing at some points when the Riddler was brought up, Caitlyn. Was it not for that? What was your reason for laughing when the Riddler was there?
So, I laughed at some of the Paul Dano, like, every time Paul Dano is on screen, I just laugh, but that's just my reaction to Paul Dano. I think he did great with the mask off, but his costume, his Riddler costume, I hated. It was so stupid. I understand you want a grounded Riddler. You don't have to put him in the Jim Carrey leotard. I understand you don't have to do that. His costume just looked so ridiculous. Like, it was just a random, like, gimp mask.
Yeah, I didn't even know it was Riddler until, like, later on. I was just like, who is this? Like, I thought it was going to be the guy Batman stops in the first 10 minutes. I had no idea who this was.
And you have Paul Dano, who is a really good actor, and like I said, the weaselest of the weasels. And, like, you didn't even get him any room to shine until later on, because you were covering him in a mask for so long.
Yes, and there was a scene where he kind of comes into the camera, and he did the same thing. It was kind of a peekaboo moment. Again, it's just with the camera.
Oh, yeah, I did laugh there. The peekaboo moment.
I was enjoying the Riddler for most of it. There was just some moments where it kind of took me out, and I think for a lot of people, the Riddler is going to be a hit or miss, and I can't blame them for thinking either way. As far as what the Riddler was doing, I thought was very cool. I thought that the Riddler was the perfect choice for the first movie and for setting up what this film's direction was going, which was more to explore the detective side of the Batman. And having the Riddler set up all these riddles for the Batman and for him to go through these clues and trying to find out this overall mystery that's going on. I thought that was a great way for them to explore the Batman, explore the city, and to also show a couple other things about Gotham, especially its corruption. So I think it did great for establishing everything, and it goes through a cast of characters and you kind of go back and forth with a couple of them. I think there were some other scenes too that didn't work for me as well. I think him as the Batman was great. I think the fighting was done really well. I think the fight choreography was there. I liked the whole bulletproof outfit, but he was taking damage still. And I liked his minimal gadgetry. I liked his demeanor. I liked the aggression that he was pouring out while he was doing these fight scenes and while he was just walking around people and just being amongst different characters. I think that was done very well. So I did enjoy this film. I had a good time from the beginning to the end. I wasn't bored at any moment. There were some moments that I was like really excited. I had some wow moments in this. The Batmobile. Screw you guys. The Batmobile was amazing.
How did you see it? The screen was so dark. I have no idea what it looked like at all.
I must have better vision and observation than you guys, because I saw something incredible in there. The Batmobile was amazing, and I love that. All of that went with it.
It might as well have been Wonder Woman's invisible car.
Oh my gosh.
As much as I saw it.
I was not a fan of that car. Like, bring back the Nolan car.
I love the tank. I love the tank.
Even the car, what was it? And it, like, turned around when it needed to, and back in the... I saw that, and I was just like, what?
Yeah, when he could have just made a left turn.
I was just like, that's insane. The one in the Batman, it was just a car. It literally was just a car that went fast.
I think this film did well. It reminded me of Batman Begins, because there's some things in Batman Begins I didn't like, but Christopher Nolan cleaned up. So I hope Matt Reeves does the same thing, and I think this is going to set up for the next Batman to be done really well. Hopefully he's done with the experimenting and he brings it back some, and he learns from this. But I really enjoyed this movie. I had my moments where I was where I was jumping out of my seat, metaphorically, but it was sloppy at some times, unfortunately, and I was disappointed by that. Now, did it live up to my hype? No, it was not the grand movie that I was hoping to be, but it still had a lot of moments where it was that grand movie that I wanted, and it fell short by a very little amount.
Coleman, what did you think of the detective part of it?
I do think that's one thing that was missing from all the other films. He's the world's greatest detective. You should be showing that. I like that was how they went with it. I thought that was one of the best parts about this movie, because it is really like a kind of like a detective movie. So I did like that part of it.
Yeah, I think I had mixed feelings on it as a detective story, because in some scenes it really worked. I was like, oh, I can get on board with this. But like I said, the first hour was just so boring. It just made it drag at times. But I did like the noir feel to it.
Yeah, I'm in full agreement with most of the things Caitlyn said about it being dark and the first hour being boring. I was pretty much just waiting for this movie to be over for quite a while, up until like the last part of it. Then I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'll keep watching. But I was disappointed by this.
A thing that I think they do well in this film that's explored with the other, not even just Batman, but with Gotham, when you talk about Gotham, especially the early days of Gotham, the police corruption. I think this movie explored it well. There's this mystery that's going on that ties to the corruption, and I think the mystery was very interesting. And I think when it's revealed, I found that to be pretty neat. Did you guys like that aspect with the movie? Or do you think they could have done some more with that? Or was it not neat?
I think having just watched the Nolan trilogy, it had some of that too. Didn't it have it? I'm trying to think which movie really had that in the Nolan trilogy. I know it was in there, but I don't remember which movie really focused.
Was it the first, when it was Gordon's partner who was the corrupt
one?
one?
Yeah. And a little bit in the Joker too, in the Dark Knight. It might as well just be called the Joker.
Yes, it was in Batman Begins, because Scarecrow is having all of those people sent to his place, and they're only sending people on a select list.
Okay. Yeah, I think just because I just did my rewatch recently of all those films, it felt a little tiresome. But I also do like that it was there, because I think it is an important part of the story.
This also being the reboot, this is an origin story. It's not the origin of the Batman, more of an origin of the symbol, I think. And I think that's something they explored in Batman Begins as well. He wanted to create a symbol. And in this Batman, he's been doing it for 2 years now, so it's not the year 1, but year 2 at this point. And things aren't going well. Nothing's really changing. He's not doing too much. I was hoping that this would be the origin story of Bruce Wayne. I felt that that was the direction it was going in, was showing how he can actually do more as both Batman and Bruce Wayne. But it kind of fell short of that, unfortunately. But I think this was still an origin story. I was glad not to see certain people die and certain pearls falling all over the place.
I say, oh, her pearls were missing.
No one's clutching their pearls. I think as an origin story, it was a good approach. I think this was a good first movie.
It's definitely a different take, too, on the Thomas and Martha Wayne death. You can talk about that a little bit more in the spoilers, but it definitely did give a different take than what I'm used to. But yeah, this movie isn't a Bruce Wayne story at all. Not at all. And I don't know how I feel about good old Rob playing Bruce Wayne. I think he was an okay Batman. He was fine. I mean, it didn't seem like too hard. Like you said, is it really that hard of a role to play? I mean, I think so. I think you need to add something to it, but he just was a basic Batman. He was fine. And I think that Robert Pattinson did play a good Bruce Wayne for what the script gave him, but the Bruce Wayne of his story just was not interesting to me. He was just kind of Like, I liked that we could see him, like, with the, like, eye makeup on, because we never get to see him with the eye makeup, so that was kind of a cool part. But I'm like, does he ever shower? Even when he, like, got cleaned up in one of the scenes, he just still looked kind of slimy, he looked kind of greasy. Like, this was not the billionaire playboy that we're used to seeing.
I don't know, I would say that I'm indifferent to it. I agree, this is not the billionaire playboy that we're used to seeing. However, I think it makes sense. This is year 2 of him being Batman, and it's interesting to see him not be that billionaire yet. Because why would he? He's going through a lot. He obviously has not gotten over the death of his parents. Sorry, spoilers, Batman's parents die. He hasn't gotten over that. He's still working out the Batman thing. He's a very troubled person. So
I thought he was rude.
Yeah, he's rude. He's shut off. He's antisocial. Like he says, he's a nocturnal animal. I was not up with by the way, we'll get back to this. The narration. Remind me. I did not like the narration.
Dear diary.
Never do. Yeah.
Mood apathetic.
Yes. He had his emo bat diary. Anyway, I think it makes sense for this Bruce Wayne. And now we can kind of see him grow to become that person that can live 2 lives. Because it shows a lot in this movie. Again, this movie is called The Batman. And it shows that he's having trouble living both sides. Not even having trouble. He doesn't want to live the other side of Bruce Wayne. He just wants to be the Batman. And I think that makes sense a lot for his character just starting out.
That's why he needs a Robin. Make him happy.
Yeah, but you need to give him that Robin later. If you give him that Robin now...
Yeah, not year 2. Year 2 is not when you give him Robin.
GTFO, kid.
Yeah.
I don't care about you. So what, your parents died? Mine did too. So what was your thoughts on Bruce's Batman?
I highly dislike Wayne. Highly dislike. I don't think he did a good job acting. Or at least it wasn't how I'm used to him being portrayed, or like how I expected him to be portrayed. So I think I was, again, disappointed by the acting.
Also, like, his hairstyle I wasn't feeling. Like, do something with your hair. Just fix it. Just comb it, wash it, comb it, and just put a little bit of hair gel or something in it. It's just, I don't know. He really did have that emo cut.
Yes.
It was almost, there's one scene, it was almost exactly the Tobey Maguire cut. And I was like, oh no, he's got to do something.
Yeah, start dancing.
Again, I think it makes sense. Do you see his hair when he puts on the cowl? The cowl.
Like his helmet?
Yeah. Do you see his hair?
No.
Yeah, so why would he care about his hair? He doesn't care about being Bruce Wayne. Why does he
Then
care?
why does he keep it long?
He doesn't have time to get it cut. Winter Barber's open during the day.
I don't know.
He is a nocturnal animal.
He's a billionaire. He could pay somebody to cut it if he wanted to.
If he wanted to.
I do understand what you're saying, Brian.
Yeah.
He doesn't care about his appearance or like making sure the bills are being paid or anything like that. He doesn't care about any of that. He just wants to be Batman. I get that.
Yeah, I'm surprised, like, the lights... If Alfred wasn't there, the lights wouldn't be on in there. There will only be, like, the spotlights in the Batcave lit up. He does not care about Bruce Wayne, and he establishes that. So, again, I think this works for the Bruce Wayne that they made.
Yeah, I just didn't like it. And when I talk about him being rude, he was rude to Alfred a lot of times.
He was.
He was like, oh, you're not my father. What do you know about being in the Wayne family? Huh? Nothing. Like, he was just so rude to Alfred.
He was, and I like that relationship that they had because it showed... One, we usually see them, they're a team. They're best buds. But this, again, he's going through some things and Alfred is still sticking by his side. So I think it shows an even stronger Alfred. Like, hey, this kid's getting on my nerves, but I basically vowed my life to protect him. So he did the same for his father. He's doing the same for him. Yes, was he rude? Yes. But again, it's that Bruce Wayne. Alfred knows what he's going through. He knows what he's been doing the last 2 years. They do have a touching moment. Should he be nicer to him? Yes. I didn't have a problem with the Alfred and Wayne relationship there.
Did you like this Alfred?
This Alfred was different. I think it explored more of the Alfred that we've been seeing recently with the more military-raised Alfred. Because he even mentions that he taught Bruce how to fight. I don't know if he was his full trainer or anything like that. But I think this Alfred works. It's not the typical Alfred, but again, we don't have the typical Wayne, so I'm happy to see a different Alfred. I have no problem with that at all.
I think this is one where the big name doesn't work for me as a side character because I just saw, oh, it's Andy Serkis.
I actually saw him and I was just like, I recognize him from something. And I realized he's Claw in the Marvel movies. That's literally what I saw, and I was just like, wait a second.
And that's the character that I saw when I was watching this.
Yeah, that's why big names sometimes don't work. You just see the actor and you're like, oh, here's this actor playing this character. And then you're taken out of the movie.
I didn't have that issue, but we've talked before, and it seems that I have less of an issue and I'm able to separate the actor from their previous films. You guys have more actors that you only see as that actor or as that character, or some that you just want to punch in the face. I usually don't have that issue.
Yeah, but I mean, if they're a good actor or if it's a good writing, they can overcome that.
Yes.
Like Anne Hathaway. I didn't think she was going to be a good Catwoman. She nailed it. You're talking about punch in the face, that's my Cillian Murphy. And it's not that I think Cillian Murphy's a great actor. His eyes just terrify me. And as Scarecrow, he terrifies me.
Which is what he was supposed to do.
Which is what he's supposed to do. I think he did a good job in those movies. Especially rewatching it, I'm like, oh yeah, he's great. His eyes just still give me nightmares, but that's okay.
You're just reading the wrong way. That's just your body telling you that you're attracted to this man.
Oh, I don't know about
Very. No, I did not see Claw. Probably because I don't even really remember that character. And also, this Alfred has 2 arms, so it worked for me. I didn't see that past character. This Alfred worked for me.
I was not a fan of this Alfred. I can't say I was a fan of the movie at all, but
Yeah.
yeah, this Alfred just was not doing it. I think I'm spoiled on Michael Caine, though. I think that's part of my problem.
Yeah, Michael Caine was just so perfect. It's
Yeah.
gonna be hard to top him.
And I was looking for more sass. I like my Alfred sassy with like witty comebacks and like playing off of Bruce, and that just I didn't see that present in this film.
I do like the Alfred of the 90s movies.
The-
He's not
yeah.
Michael Caine, but he still has that Alfred presence that you love.
Yeah. He's still got some sass to.
So let's talk about some other side characters, because we were talking a little bit about villains and grounded villains.
I did not like the Penguin. I didn't see him as Colin Farrell, even though I knew the whole time he was Colin Farrell. But something about his costume makeup just threw me off. I just couldn't get past his like makeup. Like I couldn't focus on his acting because I was too busy looking at his fake face. That's what I saw. I saw his fake face and I was taken out of the movie.
Like, I'm sure you can find an actor that looks more like that. Why did you have to have Colin Farrell?
Big name. Get him in the movie. I think that's one of the main problems with these Batmans. They're just like, oh, a big name guy or actor or actress audition, pick them. No matter how good or bad the acting is. Hopefully better than, some. But I think they're just picking big names. George Clooney, Val Kilmer.
Killmonger.
Val Kilmer.
Michael Keaton. They keep picking big enough names, celebrities. I think they need to get away from that and just find somebody who can clearly act the part. Whether or not it's Batman. It'll get people in the theaters.
Yeah, I feel like these people are just like, oh, I want to be in a Batman movie. Let's do it.
Yeah, check it off the box list.
I think, again, this is the director wanting to experiment with makeup and actors wanting to experiment with makeup. And we've seen that recently. Last year we had Jared Leto in House of Gucci and a ton of makeup. They could have just got an actor that looked like that character, but no, they got Jared Leto and they wanted to do this makeup. The actor is all down with it. They get this transformative experience and the director's all behind it because, now they got this actor and they're doing art in some sense. Suspiria with Tilda Swinton and her playing 2 parts in that movie for no reason. Again, I think that's the directors and the actors playing around. Again, this is not the movie to do it. The Penguin's makeup did throw me off sometimes. I'm glad you mentioned that, Coleman, because I was trying to figure out sometimes something was off to me about it. Mm-hmm. Now, as far as his character, I think his character did what it needed to do. I don't think it was that interesting of a character. I can't say that I'm excited to see more of him in the next films. But maybe they'll give him more time and more things to go ahead and do. But I think what he was there for, he did it well. Nothing extraordinary. No reason that they had to put somebody in that much makeup. He didn't give a crazy performance that said, yeah, no, you had to go with this guy and nobody else.
Yeah, I feel like if you substituted his role with any other crime boss, it would have worked the same. There was nothing really special about him, nothing that really made him the Penguin to me. And I would even say the same for Zoe Kravitz's role in this film. And that was something that I was actually really disappointed by because I was really looking forward to her role in this film. And don't get me wrong, she looked beautiful. I think she looked amazing. And I do think that she's a good actress, and I think she did the best with what she was given. But I feel like there wasn't much that was actually Catwoman-y about her. I feel like she was kind of a generic femme fatale. I didn't really see much cat-like behavior with her. I mean, she didn't do any flips like Anne Hathaway and Michelle Pfeiffer did. I mean, I thought it was an interesting character. I liked the role that she played. I just don't think that it was Catwoman-y enough for me to believe that she wasn't just another side character that couldn't be replaced by any other trained femme fatale.
I agree. I was actually a little worried to say it because, like, we do all love her as an actress, but I fully agree. I was expecting more, and I did not get it. I think I'm spoiled on Anne Hathaway. Anne Hathaway was the perfect Catwoman for that movie. I enjoyed her, and I was expecting a better Catwoman this time, seeing as she was supposed to be playing a bigger part, but I was disappointed. I did not see her as Catwoman. I did just see her as a woman who happened to say she was Catwoman, or didn't say it, but, like, happened to be Catwoman.
I mean, even Michelle Pfeiffer, her role as Catwoman was iconic. And just the cat-like behaviors and stuff that she brought into it, like, it was on theme. There was even that whole article that came out recently that people were freaking out about, that she, like, drank a bowl of milk like a cat and was acting like a cat to prepare for the role. Which, you know, everyone got in a tizzy about that. But I'm like, okay, there's nothing cat-like in this role, so I don't know why you would prepare in that way.
I did not read that article, but I'm pretty sure she drank a glass of milk in the movie. Spoiler. But,
not like a cat, though.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and I also really disliked her mask. I thought that had nothing to do with her.
Like I said, we were spoiled for Anne Hathaway, because that costume was everything.
It was perfect.
I would say I strongly disagree with both of you.
Oh my gosh.
Surprise.
She drank milk in this film. What else do you need from a cat? And she had cats around her. No, but in all seriousness, I strongly disagree with you guys, but for different reasons. First off, so the article, it talked about how she studied cats and the way they fight for her fight choreography. And I thought that was really strange. I was like, I've seen there was even memes of, like, cats fighting. And it's like, is this what it's going to be like in the movie? Just kind of padding around. But no, I think, watching the fight choreography in this, no, she did have, her fighting style was feline-like. I think actually it nailed it. I think her fighting was more cat-like than we ever seen before. I don't think there were a ton of flips. There was, like, a couple where she was agile, but I think it makes more sense. What she did something different. Instead of flipping around, which a cat, you know, doesn't really do too much. What she did was she stayed low to the ground, and she used a lot of kicks. And because it's a 4-legged animal. So keeping low to the ground and fighting at that mid to low level and seeing her fight somebody like Batman and some other characters, I thought it was spot on with that choreography. And I like that a lot. And actually, that's probably where my strong disagreement is going to come from, because I think that was more Catwoman-like than anything. Like, that showed that they really did put a lot into this character. That fight choreography, again, kudos to the team that worked on it, because they did develop something that was feline-like in a character that is sort of over the top. With her character too, we used this word a couple times, grounded. I think this character was more grounded. Was she doing some crazy heist where she was stealing diamonds? No, she worked in a underground club with gangsters. They're not carrying diamonds around. They're carrying hard cash. And that's what she did. She made her moves so that she can get a big score and get a duffel bag of cash. It wasn't anything extravagant, but it's what you expect in real life and in this world. Yes, she did drink some milk and she did have some cats. That was a little strong-handed. The milk was. The cats, I understood. The milk, I was like, all right, I get it. She's Catwoman. I think her attitude, she had that sexiness and that, you know, kind of getting attention and working with people both verbally and physically. So this Catwoman definitely worked for me. I think Catwoman was one of the strongest things about this film. And I think it was better than what I can remember from Anne Hathaway's character. Unfortunately, I didn't get to watch Dark Knight Rises. We'll talk about that a little bit more. But this Catwoman definitely worked for me. And that's probably actually going to be my strongest disagreement with you guys. More so the Batmobile, somehow.
I mean, I'm glad you're talking about the fight choreography, because I didn't think any of it really stood out or was memorable. When I say that it wasn't Catwoman enough, I'm not talking about the big heists or anything. I'm just talking about the performance. I know you said that she was sexy, but I think that's more just because Zoe Kravitz is absolutely gorgeous, absolutely hot. But I don't think she played the character in a sexy way. You don't really get the kind of sly, slinky performance that you did from Anne Hathaway or the more overtly sexual way that Michelle Pfeiffer did. I think there was a lot of marketing material that went out that went on about how much chemistry that Robert Pattinson and Zoe Kravitz had, and there was a lot of photo shoots that came out that had them in sexy poses, very provocative poses, and I really didn't see any of that chemistry actually on screen. And it sucks, because in the Michelle Pfeiffer and the Anne Hathaway movies, there are scenes where there is just so much tension. and so much chemistry between her and Bruce. And it's a lot in those moments where her and Bruce are just trying to figure each other out, and I feel like you didn't really get that to that extent in The Batman. There just wasn't this chemistry there for me, and when there was intimate moments between them, it felt forced.
I absolutely agree with Caitlyn once again on this part. Like, this movie had none of the chemistry of the old ones. I do think it might be because, like, in the old ones at least, I know the most chemistry I saw between Catwoman and Batman were when they were dancing as Bruce Wayne and Selina. Like,
oh, those scenes were amazing.
Those are the movies, or those are the moments I remember. So in this one, you don't get them dancing as Bruce and Selina, quite unfortunately. Maybe if you did, you'd have that chemistry. But, like, those are the moments in the older movies where I'm like, wow, like, they have chemistry. Especially in the moment in the old one when she asks if they have to fight now, because they finally, I was just like, oh my god.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I noticed too.
They lack that chemistry in this.
I noticed too in that scene in Rises when they're dancing and stuff, he brings out his voice that he used for Hal Pendragon in Howl's Moving Castle, and like that, like I was swooning a little bit. He brought out his flirtatious voice in that scene, and I've never really made that connection between, oh, Batman and Hal are the same person, except for that one scene, because he brought out that character, that flirtatious kind of character. And it was good. It was good chemistry. And even, like you said, Michelle Pfeiffer, that one scene, and, you know, that tension of I'm hiding something from you, but we're also really close, we're on the same page. It's just great. It's great tension. And this just didn't have that at all.
I will agree on you with that, at least. I don't think the chemistry was all there either. I can kind of see what they were going for, but as far as like their intimacy and when they had their close moments and they even had their kiss, I think some of it was a bit forced, even though I understood the mutual attraction. I think that's something as far as the intimacy, I think they could have played that in the second movie. And in this one, just kind of explore just the infatuation that they had between each other. But no, the chemistry was not fully there.
Speaking of the kiss, I felt like that was completely forced. Like, that came out of nowhere for me, and I was just like, oh, okay, they're kissing now. But I do think there was one moment where I saw a little bit of that chemistry, and that was when he looked at her in the mirror. That was the only time I was like, okay, I get it, I see it now. But we'll have to wait for the spoiler section.
Yeah, I felt it when he was like, look at me, like he made her look in his eyes. Like, that was good, but I needed so much more of those moments.
Yeah.
You were like, which one do I kiss right now?
One thing going all the way back, I was trying to get this and I had to keep it in my mind. With the corrupt cop talk that you guys are talking about, I do like that they keep going back to that just to show that Gordon is like the beacon of trust in Batman's like life apart from Alfred. I do think that is an essential part to keep going back to, like, this is a corrupt police force, but Gordon is like Batman's main man. I do like that they keep going back to that. And I did like the dynamic between Batman and the cops in this one. I thought it was interesting. More interesting than some of the other ones, I think.
Yeah, I think the cops reacted more appropriately in this one. People weren't all like, oh, it's the Batman. Yeah, come in and do this with us. Some people were like, all right, this is a little weird, man. And other people were just kind of staring at him. Other people were like, oh, this is really cool. And yeah, it just seemed like kind of walk alongside of them.
Yeah.
It showed that difference. I think it also kind of showed the scaling of Batman as well. Just like the size of him and like how he is kind of that figure.
I didn't realize how tall he was.
I think he was wearing some pretty big boots, and I'm pretty sure of it, because he was about to hit his head on some door frames.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Robert Pattinson's that
tall. That's what I was thinking. No. I was like, he's really tall for...
Isn't he British?
Well, there you go. You lost your
UK
British
audience.
Yeah.
We didn't really get to talk too much about Jim Gordon yet either. So what did you think about Jeffrey Wright in this role?
I thought he was good. I thought he was real good.
I expected better. I expected so much better of everybody in this movie, and I have been left wanting, and I cannot say that I liked his performance. But then again, like I keep saying, I've been spoiled by Nolan. Gary Oldman was Jim Gordon, Anne Hathaway was Catwoman, Michael Caine was Alfred.
I agree. I completely agree. And Jeffrey Wright, he's a really good actor. I've seen him in a lot of really good roles. But I feel like he was a little flat to me. And all of these characters in this movie just felt a little flat to me, felt a little monotone at times. And I think it's at the sake of being grounded that you sacrifice some of that character personality in order to be more grounded.
I agree.
I can see that.
One other thing before we go into our spoilers too, it's something that I've been looking at as I've been rewatching the series, and as far as what Gotham looks like as a city, because each director has had their own vision of what Gotham should look like. For me, I think this one started off looking very New Yorkish, a lot of Times Square with the lights, the ads all over the place, but then I kind of feel like we lost that a little bit, and then I just couldn't really see it because it was so dark. So I don't know that this is my favorite Gotham either.
I don't think Gotham was explored enough in this. Actually, there was a scene where they go back to the club, and I was a little disappointed because I wanted to see another portion of Gotham. I think for what they set up and what's going to be explored later, I'm interested in. I don't know if this is my favorite Gotham. And no, it's not my favorite Gotham. I can say that. There needed to be more to explore. This was much like a city that you usually see, except for when they did their large set pieces.
I personally prefer the Nolan version of Gotham, where it's like, I specifically when Bruce is coming home and Rachel drives him downtown, and she's like, "Hey, this is another area of Gotham. You never see this. You're always up there with like the high rollers." I thought that was cool, seeing like, yeah, there's the upper class Gotham, and then there's like the slums where the people are in trouble and Bruce isn't doing anything to help. So I thought that was a good aspect in that movie, the Nolan movies. Whereas in this movie, you didn't really get to explore that. There were very few environments.
Yeah, I would say the Batman Begins Gotham is probably my favorite. Yeah. I think Nolan kind of went away from that as the trilogy went on, but the Batman Begins was definitely probably my favorite Gotham. One thing I noticed that felt different is that it felt like a bigger city. It felt less contained. It felt a little bit more wider, kind of colder, more scarier too. Like, I feel like this is not a place I want to walk around alone at night at all. So I guess I will give it that.
I think it felt smaller in scale, actually, for this one. Yeah, except from when they did the big set pieces, I thought it felt smaller. Like I said, I wish they explored more with this, but I won't really fault the movie on that. It's something that we can explore later. I think it explored a lot of different portions and explored a lot of different characters that not seeing too much of the city wasn't so much of an issue for me.
I think because it had a subway, it made me feel like it was a bigger city.
In most of the movie, I would agree with Brian that it did seem like a smaller city, but in one scene when they initially showed the signal and he's like, "I could be anywhere," I thought that was like a good line and a good like, oh, this is a big enough city to where he can't be everywhere, but shine that signal and like he could be anywhere. Yeah. So I thought that showed a little bit of a bigger city.
So I think we can go ahead and get into the classified portion of our podcast and talk a little bit more about this film with spoilers included. So if you haven't seen this film, turn off the podcast, go watch it, go to theaters and watch it, and come back and join us for our spoiler discussion. We're going to be talking about more of our opinions with the spoilers. We're going to talk about whether we thought this was needed and welcomed into the franchise. And we're also going to give our letter grades to show you where we rank this movie in with the other movies in this franchise. So we talked a little about if we were excited for this movie, if we thought that this is something we had wanted before we watched it. But now that we have seen this movie, do you think that this was needed, wanted, or welcomed in the franchise?
I thought that this movie was needed. We are in desperate need of a good live-action young Batman. I thought this was going to be that film, but I cannot say that this film was going to be welcome. It just didn't have what I expected it to have. Most of the time, I was left disappointed with this movie, so I can't say it's going to be welcome, though I don't think it was pointless. I do think we need that perspective of a young Bruce Wayne. I do like that they did year 2 rather than like year 1 or like an older Ben Affleck Batman, but I do wish that they had done a better job with a younger Batman.
I don't think this movie was needed and fully wanted. I think it was at least welcomed. Like everybody said, hey, we like Batman. Sure, if they're going to make another one, everybody's here to support it. But I think we just have so much Batman and so many properties, and we have so many movies already. And, I mean, we even have a current Batman still in play. We still have Ben Affleck out there right now. And at the time that they announced this movie, Ben Affleck hadn't walked away from the Snyderverse yet. So then when this movie was announced, and even now, it's welcome, but it wasn't really needed or, I guess, totally wanted.
But Affleck has since said that he doesn't want to rate.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a shame.
I really need to watch the Snyder Cut because...
The Snyder Cut is amazing. It is one of my top films. It was not. I didn't have any DC movie in my, like, top 5, but Snyder Cut would make top 3 for sure. It's a very long movie, but it is worth almost every second.
Like, I definitely need to watch it now, since we're on the same page with this one. I feel like maybe
I also like the Snyder Cut.
I don't care about your opinion.
So no, I haven't watched it.
I agree. I don't know that it was fully needed just because we've had so many Batmans already. But at the same time, I don't hate it. Batman's always going to be Batman, and Spider-Man are the 2 superheroes. I feel like we're just going to keep getting movies over and over again. And I'm just accepting it. And, I really wanted a Batman that I would fully love and appreciate, because I feel like I've never had a perfect Batman movie that I've loved. Don't get me wrong, there are Batman movies I really like, one in particular, but it definitely has flaws. And this one, I don't think it filled that need for me. It didn't give me perfect Batman movie. So I'm still kind of waiting for that one, but I don't think that this director can deliver that for me.
Caitlyn, I'm glad to hear that you at least agree with one thing of mine. But let's get back into what we disagree about. Let's get into more in depth of our opinion.
Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the detective story a little bit more now that we can go into spoilers and how that played out. I do think that as far as the clues that were given and as far as how the Riddler went about his murders, I thought that was interesting and kind of gruesome at times. So I think there was good visuals too with what he left behind, like with the notes on the faces. It's not new to this story. I've seen that in other, crime stories before with the bag over a head and a note attached to the face. That's nothing new, but it's still a cool visual.
No, I agree. The visuals are cool. How Riddler set it up and his whole aesthetic, it was done very well. I think the mystery too, I think the reveal of the mystery was interesting. Actually, the continuing reveals of it. I think it wasn't something that just led to that one moment and then they revealed it and you're like, oh, okay, that's real. That's what it all means. I think as the story goes on, there were points that were like, okay, that's pretty neat. Like, I like what they did with Thomas Wayne a lot about that mistake that he made, which at first it sounds like he got a guy whacked, but you find out that it's just a mistake. I like that when you start to find out that, hey, these cops may have orchestrated this fraud of a bust. So you're continually finding things out all the way till you get to the reveal and the master plan. And that's what kept me interested in this movie.
I like the aspect of it, the overall mystery aspect. I do not think it was well done in this movie. The final reveal, how Falcone was in charge of the city, I thought that was not obvious, but I felt like that was like, oh, okay. It wasn't what I was expecting. I was expecting it to be like a surprise, but I was not surprised at all about that. And then the Riddler's plan just was not as epic as I was expecting. I mean, the flooded city was cool, but the guys with the guns on top of the thing, I felt like that was just normal. But I like we were saying, it's a more grounded film, so I guess they couldn't do like crazy stuff, but it just didn't feel like that big of a threat at any point. Like, the bad guys just didn't seem they were putting the city in as much danger as I was expecting them.
I'm sorry, you're talking about the guys on the roof, his followers and everything. I'll say that the social media aspect did not work for me at all. Especially like the Facebook Live, you saw the hearts going. Anytime I see that in a film, it takes me out. Like, anytime you go too far into modern, everyday technology, it's going to feel dated in a couple years. So that just takes me out. And also the fact that you're like, oh my gosh, he has 500 followers. That's not a lot of followers, guys. I mean, it's just not. That's not a big deal. That's really not a lot. Of the 500 who follow him, 10 maybe show up?
Yeah, it wasn't even that many.
Yeah. So it kind of built this up that he's this big, right-wing conspiracy kind of theorist. And it didn't play off well for me in the end.
Coleman, I like what you said about Falcone. That was an obvious thing. What I liked is the plan and how it led up to it. Like, his actual position and part in it. Like I said, the whole orchestrated crime bust that was just a fraud, and the thing with Thomas Wayne. However, of course, yeah, we all knew Falcone ran the city. So that wasn't the big, I don't think that was the big reveal. I would agree that the final portion of the plan was not as great as everything else. I think it was more so to give Batman a win, because bringing all those people in there and then you just start sniping them out, I guess they could have explained it more of how those were going to be pretty much only the elites in that position, which I think they were saying. But I think when they blew up all the C4 and everything, at that point Riddler had won, but you need to have another moment in which Batman can win. And I think that's what that moment was set up for. The social media aspect, yeah, I thought they were making a joke with the whole 500 followers, and that's why I laughed, and I noticed nobody else in the theater laughed. I'm like, this dude is serious. So yeah, that was a bit much, and yes, you do date yourself with those comments coming up on the screen like he's doing a Twitch stream. That was a bit much. And another thing that he had done with the social media aspect, I think this movie also was kind of trying to make a topical message, because they used words like Battle Royale, but also how they were getting set up and they had the ammo and the guns, and they even said the word active as an active shooter, which is, I don't know have you guys heard that term before? Is that the term that's usually used, active shooter? Active threat? Okay. I forgot if that was a law enforcement term. It's actually called active threat now. They don't just say active shooter. I think they were kind of trying to play on that as well. You got these guys who are trying to be part of something bigger. They're trying to be against the society that we live in. So they masked up, got together, got a crap load of ammo, and they were supposed to just start sniping people. And we talked about that on another one of our shows, but I think they were kind of playing to that, or trying to make it more relevant by making it a mass shooting. But I think it was something that was a bit smaller in scale when looking at his whole plan, but it was something to give Batman his win, which, as far as that scene, before I get into that, I'll give it back to you guys, and then we can come back to that final scene, because I got some things to say about that.
Yeah, I agree when you say it was small scale, because when he was talking to Riddler, and Riddler was like, oh, you didn't get my plan, you're not as smart as I thought, it's going to be epic, I was like, okay, what's about to go down? And then he placed the bombs, I was like, alright, this is something serious, and then it happened, and I was just like, oh, this is the plan, this is the epic plan, it's a plan, I guess, but it's not quite as epic as I thought. But I do think, going back to the mystery portion, when he told Batman that he wasn't as smart as he seemed, I also thought that as well. As soon as the first time Riddler mentioned orphan, immediately I thought Bruce Wayne, and it took him a few minutes to figure out he was talking about himself, and I don't know. I don't want to say I'm smarter than Batman, but at least in that moment I was just like, it's you, he's talking about you. You are the orphan he's talking about.
We've been over this, Coleman. He doesn't recognize himself as Bruce Wayne. He was just the Batman.
I mean, I guess. But
I don't know. Yeah, that did take him a minute. I was like, okay. I didn't get the whole riddle. Kudos on him for getting the riddle. Because I have no idea how that related to Orphan. I had to look back at that one. But for him not to realize that he was the orphan, that was a bit much.
You're targeting the elites. You hear orphan. I'm thinking the Prince of Gotham, the orphan king of Gotham.
Orphan king of Gotham.
Also, Coleman, you read Court of Owls, right?
I did, yes.
Do you think that there was some relation, or they got some influence from Court of Owls because Riddler being an orphan? Because if you remember, and sorry, spoilers, we're going to spoil this discussion, so I'm going to just spoil everything. In Court of Owls, one of the big players in it actually turns out to be an orphan from the orphanage that I believe that Batman was in for a little bit. So they're kind of they consider each other brothers, or he considers Bruce Wayne to be his brother. And he has a problem with it because Bruce Wayne was so treated, he was put into this ivory tower while everybody else was forgotten about. Did you make that connection at all?
I did not make that connection in the film, but I did like that scene where he was saying, you're not an orphan, you're just a rich boy. I'm an orphan. I just sleep in a room with 30 kids. I thought that was a good scene.
I think that was another piece of social commentary. When you look at the news, and when someone of a high profile, someone in the suburbs or a high part of the city, when they get murdered, it makes all the news headlines. But yet you still have crime that continues down these cities, and you have all these other innocent people dying. But since they don't fit that profile, they don't get that sort of attention. There was even a line that Zoe Kravitz said where you're just a privileged white boy. So again, I think they were making some social commentary here. And I thought that they did just enough for it not to be too much. That they weren't being
trendy.
Is the Riddler an orphan? Was
Honestly, I don't recall if he was.
because I do think that scene was played well, but at the same time, like after watching, like I said, I did rewatch a lot in the series this past week. I was just kind of like, oh damn, I'm tired of these orphans.
Oh my god. Can you say that?
I don't know, another orphan, damn.
It's Gotham City, it's like Disney just killing, parents left and right.
Yeah, but I was just like, okay. Like, I feel like his sob story was kind of, I don't know. I don't think it was trying to be redemptive of him, but I was just like, oh, okay.
Well, I felt the impact the movie was trying to make with that, because I thought about that. That was really screwed up what happened to him, because they had $1 billion that was put into those children that was supposed to help them. And then all these greedy and corrupted people took that opportunity and stole from that fund. So I thought that was an interesting play. It's something bigger than just a bank heist. It's more technical.
Yeah, I guess. Like I said, just watching Rises, where the orphanage was such a big part of that, and not having funding for the orphans, kind of tired of it.
Someone needs to fund the orphanage.
Someone's got. It's always
that's all you gotta do.
Wayne, fund the orphans.
Just fund the orphanage.
Yeah, Lego Batman too.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah,
wow,
that's true. That's what I was like, oh my gosh,
Which has
damn orphanages in Gotham City.
It's the parents that keep dying.
Which it has a funny joke though. At least a funny joke, because Robin tells him, he's like, yeah, my name is Richard, but everybody at the orphanage calls me Dick. And Batman just says, oh, kids can be cruel.
Yeah, that was funny. That was funny.
I wanted to talk about the ending scene, because while I felt like it was just set up to give him that superhero moment, that superhero third act that we were used to seeing, I thought it worked well. I thought it presented a challenge. I always like to see a superhero be pushed against the wall, for them to be on their last leg. I like to see when the suit's tearing, even though this one didn't do it. But that's something I always like to see with superheroes and protagonists in any sort of property. I thought it was really cool with him being bulletproof. He was still getting hit and he was still feeling it. And I like that they kind of established early on that he can still get overran by a good group size of people. Like, he's still human. I think the Nolan trilogy kind of lost that. I think he was kind of a powerhouse. And actually, I don't even think it's just the Nolan trilogy. I think it's throughout the franchise, is that Batman is this man without powers. However, he's not usually presented as a man without powers. Even in the comic books, he can lift an ungodly amount of weight that no human should be able to. Like, the anatomy just can't handle that. But I think in this movie, they presented that well. They presented that, hey, anything could be a challenge for him. I thought it was really cool when he took that adrenaline shot, when he took what looked to be Bane's venom. And I also, while I like to see them on their last leg and be beaten down and they had that rise moment, I always find it thrilling to see a hero lose it. Like in anime, one of my favorite anime tropes is the berserk mode. And we get that berserk mode with Batman. And I thought that was really cool. Again, that's what you were saying with somebody that needs to pull him back. You had Zoe Kravitz there for him, and Jim Gordon. So I think it's showing that, hey, he does have some support. What did you guys think about the third act as far as like the action of it?
I agree that the adrenaline part was really cool. I did like that he did that. But I thought that the ending fight was kind of underwhelming for me. Like, I mean, it was just like a couple dudes on the roof. And I agree, it's a more humanized version of Batman. So I guess for this Batman, that's hard. That's difficult for him. But like, typically, it wasn't really high stakes, it didn't feel. And I think I was even confused at one point, because Catwoman comes in and saves him at one point. And she's like, okay, it's done, it's over. And then it wasn't, and then it was, and I was like, is it over? I was confused myself about what was actually going on in the scene, because I couldn't really keep track of what was actually happening. The stakes just seemed kind of low to me.
I'm going to have to agree with Caitlyn. I did feel it was underwhelming. Also, with the whole damage thing you were talking about, I feel like he took a lot more damage and recovered. Like, when he was flying and he hit the ground, he should not have been up that quick. Like, he should have been down. Like, I guess he can take a lot more damage. That suit's more... I mean, the suit is more armored, but I'm thinking, statistically speaking, probability speaking, somebody should have hit him in the mouth. That's a big opening he has. He took a lot of bullets, and it seemed like the only real damage he took was at the very end of the fight when he took that shotgun blast to the chest. It's the only time that I saw him go down and actually stay down. The other thing I want to mention is he is a terrible... He's kind of a dumb fighter. He turned his back on a lot of people that he just basically pushed down, not knocked out. When he first got into the club, he turned his back on half the guys he knocked down. All it takes is a couple of them to rush him, tackle him, and then somebody come up with a shotgun and shoot him. But I guess the bad guys are dumber than Batman, and I don't know. It just is. I guess it is year 2, but his fighting style just seemed a little reckless, and he seemed to take a lot more damage than I think he should have been able.
I think it was reckless, which is why he probably has that bulletproof armor on, because he does go in head first. Even, like I said, Alfred is the one that taught him to fight. So he doesn't have he wasn't taught by Ra's al Ghul like the Nolan trilogy. So I think his fighting style, it is, honestly, it's a lot of brawling. And yeah, he does turn his back on a lot of people. But I think there were a lot of times when you kind of see that, those shots, they kind of had an impact on him. And yeah, I'll agree, the shotgun blast is the one that really knocked him down, as it should. But it just looked at a moment that he was getting tired, and they were kind of getting the hold of him in different ways, tackling him. They were dragging him at one point. In the club, it looked like things were going to be pretty tough for him, but luckily somebody stepped in. But it looked like that fight was probably not going to go his way. Probability-wise, getting hit in the face, yeah, that's a whole superhero trope. But I can kind of say also hitting that small target is a bit more difficult. But again, probability-wise, a bullet should have ricocheted off of something and clipped his chin, at least.
He's got a wide jaw.
Yeah.
Big surface area.
Machine gun, and I was all right, somebody hit it.
I liked also how people got back up. It reminded me of Daredevil. The Daredevil series I liked, and that's actually what I was anticipating when I went into this movie, because when he's beating down that one person in the trailer, after telling everybody what his name is, or before telling everybody what his name is, he's just beating that dude down, like Daredevil does. He knows that one punch is going to take care of it. And that's something we never seen in the other Batman series. It's always the one punch pals and the flipping over, and then he moves on, or he does the stealth takedown. No, he hits people multiple times. So I thought that was cool, and it kind of keeps the fight going. What it reminded me of is the Arkham series, the game, because in those games, those henchmen can overwhelm you. And it's consistently, you have to go back and forth between people, and people aren't always going down. And I like that the henchmen can become a threat, because that's something that I think was missing again from the other series, is that the henchmen were just there just to see him do some flips and kicks. There was no point of it. There's no suspense when those henchmen are fighting him. We're just waiting for him to get to the main bad. And I think this sets up the tone again for the trilogy, quadrilogy, wherever they go with this.
I was just remembering a part that I laughed in the theater, and some of his facial expressions to me at the end were hilarious. He was just kind of he was just yelling, and I don't know. It was just funny.
Yeah, when he was getting picked up by Catwoman, you laughed and I laughed on that. He was making some weird faces. Granted, I don't know, maybe those are the faces that you make. Didn't work for the film. Same thing with the peekaboos.
Peekaboos.
I did think it worked though when he put in that adrenaline shot and lost it on the dude, and you can kind of see the white in his eyes for a second. I think that worked extremely well.
Yeah, that did.
And I thought they were actually, honestly, I think it was effective, because honestly, I thought that they may go to the route where he pushed it too far, and they were going to do he made an honest mistake, almost like his father made an honest mistake, and kind of having those two mirror each other.
I definitely thought they were going to have that guy at the end be dead. I thought then he was going to be a criminal, and Gordon was going to have to not make an arrest, but you're a bad guy now. You're just like them. We can't be buddies anymore, publicly. But then it went the other way. And I do kind of like that they made Batman the hero of Gotham. Everybody knows he saved the city. He was helping that one girl at the end, and she was just like, oh, hey, is it okay to go with these guys? And he was just like, yeah, go for it. I do like that aspect, but I don't know. I'm partial to a Batman who's less of a hero and more of a anti-hero.
I don't think he's ever really pushed the line of anti-hero so much as just being rough with his customers.
Do you like a more disliked Batman?
I like when Batman is mean and rude to certain people, not to Alfred. I don't like that. I don't like him being mean to Alfred at all. I thought that was very just go over real quick. When Alfred first woke up and immediately Bruce started attacking him, I was like, what? Not physically attacking him, verbally attacking him. I was like, this man just woke up. Come on now. I thought that was very disrespectful. But, no, I like Batman mean. Like, I don't know, not mean and rude, but like, I don't like Batman to be liked by most people. I like him to do his thing whether people like him or not. Like, animated Justice League Batman, he just doesn't care about other people. He just does his own thing, and he does it well. That's my favorite Batman, by the way.
Yeah, I like the vigilante Batman, where the city is unsure who he's working for. I know you're not as a fan of the character as I am, but actually Spider-Man, they do that very well in the comic, and that's an ongoing thing. Like, is he for the people or is he not for the people? That's the kind of Batman I enjoy as well.
He's a menace.
Which I think is foolish, because obviously Spider-Man is for the people. I think the people who think Spider-Man is not for the people are foolish. Granted, I haven't seen the last film, so, anything could happen. But up until then, anybody who thinks Spider-Man is a villain after, like, his first day clearly has an agenda. And I'm looking at you, J.J. Jonathan, or Jameson, whatever your name is.
J.J. Jonathan.
No, they, in the comic book run, they actually develop it pretty well, why they think that he's a menace. For one, he just so happens to be there when everything gets destroyed. And he's blamed for a lot of deaths. Going back to the fight scenes, what did you guys think about this? These fights related to the other fights in the franchise, because that's something that worked and didn't work for me in the previous films. I like the stealth takedowns in the previous films. However, honestly, I'm not that big a fan of the Nolan fight choreography, his fighting style. I was actually doing some reading on it, because what he's doing a lot of elbows. He's just throwing elbows everywhere. I kind of like miscount. I'm pretty sure the dude's got like 4 elbows, but he's just swinging them out there. But it's his own fighting style, and I found out that the people who worked on the film, they kind of helped create that. It's not something that's been pre-established. They established it for Batman, and what it's to be used for is because Batman gets overwhelmed by a lot of people, is to constantly keep his guard up and be able to strike and be able to take hits from different sides while still protecting pretty much the one portion of his face where it can get hurt. But it didn't look good. So I understand the practicality of it, but I didn't enjoy a lot of the fights in the Nolan trilogy. And then as far as the Tim Burton films and so forth, the Schumacher films, they were just a one-hit done, so I don't even really count those as fighting.
I don't think they're one-hit dones, but they were funny. They were funny choreographies in the original ones, because they got creative, and you can tell it's kind of like turn-taking. Let me take turn. I'm going to hit you now you hit me. and so it was funny. It was the same thing. I don't have any issues with the Nolan fights, though, at all. I don't know. I feel like none of it really, neither in Nolan's films or this one, the fight choreography wasn't anything that particularly stood out.
I like like I said before, Catwoman fight choreography. Actually, I found her fights to be more interesting than Batman's in this one. I really like what they did with hers. I wanted to sit you both down and we're just going to go by frame, because you missed what I was seeing, or I totally saw something different. Maybe I'll watch it and the whole time she's just patting people and scratching up their face. Let's just go see the movie again. I'm pretty sure it's still playing.
I mean, I feel like with the kicks and everything, I've seen that from literally all 3 Catwomans.
The positions that she was doing the kicks and how she was following up with the kicks, because she wasn't doing just like one kick. Like, the kicks were fast.
I don't know. All I saw was, high kick, and then that was all I saw.
Yeah, I didn't see any like specific, like technical.
Oh, we are definitely breaking this down frame by frame. And
all I saw was the one high kick and like kind of a little tiny follow-up, and then nothing really spectacular.
Okay, yeah, we definitely saw something different.
Yeah.
This is going to be the social media question.
I was initially going to agree with you, Brian. I did find, in the beginning, until I got used to it, I did find Nolan's fight scenes with Batman to be a little, I don't know, I don't want to say bulky, but they threw me off. I didn't know what he was doing with those elbows. He did have a lot of elbows. But I also did a little research and saw that it was to fight multiple opponents, and so I feel like that's probably how he would fight, I guess. But I did find it a little off. But I found Batman's fight scenes in this movie to be more fluid, if not stupider, than Catwoman's. I thought they were more natural the way he fought than Nolan's. I can't say I really noticed Catwoman's fight scenes.
Don't worry, we'll break it down.
Of course. But favorite fight scene in any of the films was well, the two were Anne Hathaway and Christian Bale. Whenever they were fighting together, I loved that. I thought they had perfect fight chemistry.
I'm gonna have to watch that. Though I have an idea of how, so I'm a bit biased. Just gonna put it out there right now. But I mean to watch Dark Knight Rises. We'll talk about it during the ranking, what I actually plan to do for that.
Kind of switching topics a little bit. You know, we talked about how these villains are so grounded and it kind of ruins the character a little bit. But I felt like with Falcone, that man was wearing sunglasses in the darkest club ever. I was like, I know you can't see shit right now. So for me, like, oh, you can't make anyone too cartoony, but then have this man just wearing sunglasses everywhere. I didn't really get it.
I didn't have an issue with that. I mean, I'm thinking about it now. Yeah, no, it doesn't make sense, but I don't know. I'm indifferent.
Like, is that your cartoon element? Oh, for the fans, does Falcone wear glasses in the comics?
Why do you always have a problem with shades and glasses? It's just like the Matrix all over again.
Because they're weird looking. No, sunglasses. The Matrix shades, I didn't like them.
He's a nocturnal animal.
Falcone.
Never mind.
I'm just like, I can't see anything right now. I know you're not seeing anything in this club.
He's another actor that I just literally saw the actor because I see him. He's the actor I see from the Transformers movie. I see him and I'm expecting him to play a comedy role, and then he doesn't. So that kind of took me out of the movie. But I don't think he was a good villain either. I don't think they had good villains.
Yes, I was going to say, you pictured him in Transformers. I kept thinking of thinking he was going to say some racial slurs.
What? Where's he from? I don't even know who his actor is.
We just did the movie, Do the Right Thing. He's Vito from Do the Right Thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, see, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know who the actor was, because he's wearing glasses. I couldn't tell who it was.
That's probably why he's wearing the glasses. It's like, damn, everybody's going to recognize me as a racist. Or the Transformers guy.
So, we talked a little bit about the difference with the Thomas and Martha Wayne and the mistake that he did, and I feel like for me, that plot also just kind of fell short for me. I don't think I liked politician Thomas Wayne, first of all. I don't know if that's a comic thing, but I didn't have any feelings that I wanted this political background. And then secondly, the mistake that he makes in getting involved with Falcone, Alfred explains that it was done to protect his mother, but it never really goes into what he was really protecting her from, because she had a history of mental health. Was that it? And that was it? Like, how was he, and why was it so dire?
He was protecting both Martha and Bruce. He was protecting the Wayne legacy. Alfred tells him that in the beginning, too, Alfred's really worried about the Wayne legacy. But he doesn't tell him exactly why that's so important, but it was important to his father. So to uphold that image for them and to kind of keep them away from... Because, I mean, also when you get brought up into that limelight, things just start to go downhill. Especially if she already has some mental health issues and now she has all that attention, that can make her decline. But I think the biggest thing and the thing that the movie actually says is that it's their legacy. I like the political aspect because, I mean, he's always been political. He was political in the Nolan films. He wasn't running for a political position, but he did build that monorail system and he was trying to do a lot for Gotham. He's always pouring money into Gotham and trying to do a lot for it. So he may not be running for an official title. He may not be in that political position, but Thomas Wayne is known for doing politics.
I don't know. I just feel like Wayne Enterprise was not in this film at all. It was completely... Like, there's nothing about it. Wayne Enterprise was just a name, and that was about it. We didn't really see anything. Yeah. And so I guess I didn't feel any influence in that way. And as far as Martha Wayne being mentally ill, it was just kind of like a throwaway line, and then that was it, and it was never explored anymore. Like, I don't know that they need to go super into it, but I was like... I thought we were going to get some more explanation about why this was needed to be hidden, a little bit more about their backstory, and we just never got any of that.
She was hysterical.
She was a hysterical woman.
I wasn't really concerned about the Thomas Wayne politics aspect. I was indifferent to that. I do think, and again, I don't want to say I'm smarter than Thomas Wayne or anything, but I think he could have played off, maybe not the parents' murder, suicide, but like the mental illness thing, they could have made that like a platform, like, oh, we understand certain issues, and then they could have like contributed part of the... You're shaking your head, Bryant, but anyways, they could have contributed part of the renewal fund to like help out in those areas, and Martha Wayne could have taken like point on that. Mm-hmm. I feel like he didn't have to hide that aspect, but again, this was back in the day when, you know, maybe it was a huge, crazy issue.
I guess, but that's why I thought there was more to that story that we weren't getting.
It definitely, like you said, fell short. I feel like, again, a lot of this movie fell short of my expectations, and then they would lead you somewhere, and then you'd be like, oh, okay, it's about to get good, and then it would just end.
I was shaking my head because this movie, this was 20 years after the anniversary of their death. This was 20 plus years ago. Like you're talking about revealing somebody's mental health issues. There's a huge stigma on mental health that has only been getting cleared up in the last couple years. That's the only reason I was shaking my head.
That's fair. And I was actually thinking of a real life event where, I don't remember who it was, some presidential candidate actually dropped out because their wife had depression. And I mean, maybe it would be an issue nowadays, but it wouldn't be as big of an issue where you had to pay off a guy and possibly murder him and get murdered yourself and your kid becomes Batman and then yells at Alfred.
No, but so is she part of the Arkham family?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, that I also was like, huh? Because it wasn't like fully explained. It was just kind of alluded to. So if you don't have that background, I feel like it can go over your head a little bit.
I didn't know Arkham was a family.
Neither did
and
I.
also, I thought these were two separate families. I was like, okay, I guess we're just going to look at the Arkham family later. I didn't know that connection. So I see your point there as well. Oh, there's something I do want to bring up. We're getting close to the end, it seems like. And we have I think we all can agree on this, at least. And I have this in my notes because it happened and I was very upset. It's the one thing, Caitlyn, that I said I do not want to see in this film. And that is the Joker card. Do we get the card? No. But do we get the Joker? Yes. And I hate the Joker. I think he's a great villain. I think they have done some amazing stories with him. But I hate how often he is used. And people are thinking, well, he was only in 3 films. You know, he was only in the Tim Burton's once, and he was in Nolan. No, I played the Arkham games, grew up watching the animation series. I watch and continue to watch the animation movies. I've read some of the core comic books. Joker is continually used. It is ridiculous how often he's used. Batman has one of the best rogue galleries out there, if not the best. The only one that comes close is also Spider-Man. Luckily, they continue to go through his characters. But with Batman, we always got to go back to the Joker. We just had the Gotham series. We had the Joker in it. The Joker was revealed in something else recently as well. But
there was Jared Leto, and then there was the whole Joaquin Phoenix Joker.
Yeah, we had a whole movie for the Joker. We had Jared Leto as the Cholo Joker. And then he came back as the Apocalypse Cholo Joker. And in the games, it was ridiculous as well. But it has such a cool story, and it worked so well with the Joker being in there. But then they brought him back in the 3rd game, and in the prequel, they literally, I'm pulling out spoilers. I never played the prequel, but my brother did, and I was thinking about playing it, but then he told me what they do with the Black Mask. Black Mask is also an iconic Batman character, probably one of the B ones in his rogue gallery. And then it turns out the Black Mask was the Joker all along. They were kind of slap in the face as that, but that's how often they put the Joker in it, and they continually cram in the Joker in the animation movies. Does he have some iconic storylines? Yes. Killing Jason Todd, great. Killing Joke, excellent. But we just had so much of him, and there's so many other characters. We're probably only going to get a trilogy out of this, or quadrilogy at best, depending how it goes. But the Joker, now we're going to have a film with him, and he's not going to be a side character. He's not. So now we only have one film left where we're really going to go ahead and explore the rogue gallery, unfortunately. So that takes away points for me and for all the films that have had Joker in it as well.
I don't think I'm as Joker fatigued as you are, but I wasn't really excited to see him either with this. I think too that I have my issues with The Dark Knight, but Heath Ledger's performance, it was so iconic for it, and I think everything that came after him just fell short. And for me, even that end reveal, I didn't even think it was the Joker. I didn't know who it was at first. I actually had to ask Bryant later because I was like, who was that supposed to be? And when he said it was a Joker, and I was like, oh, okay. He just, like, from the little that we saw of him at the end, I just wasn't impressed. I do like the actor that's going to be playing him, Barry Keoghan. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing his name wrong. I do like him as an actor. I don't think I would choose him for the Joker, though, because I forgot.
I personally would not have chosen to go with the Joker this soon, especially after, like Caitlyn said, Heath Ledger's performance. Not that they can't use him, I just feel like his performance was so good, you cannot help but compare the new Joker to him. I feel like that is a standard Joker from now on, so I probably would have built up a few more of the Batman's other villains. I probably would have done them a little better than they treated Riddler and Penguin, but actually now I'm concerned. How are they going to do Joker now that we've seen everybody else? They're going to
Yeah, I feel
Not
like
looking
already his costuming, even from the little I saw, just was not... Like, we didn't even see him. We saw, like, a sliver of his face, and I was like, that looks weird.
Yeah, I thought it was Two-Face for a second.
Yeah, so did I. I thought it was Two-Face, because it looked like he had, like, only one half.
I think with the Joker, I think there's been a good variety of the Joker. We've had all sorts and types of Joker. Even had Super Joker at one point. Because you got Tim Burton's comic book Joker, and then you have Nolan's terrorist Joker. You've had Gangster Joker. You had Alchemist Joker. But again, it's just, he's been used so often. I'm just thinking about it even more. The Injustice series, which has become pretty big. The whole Injustice series, it starts because the Joker kills Lois Lane. Are there no other characters that can be used? No, there's plenty. There's more than plenty. There is a literal asylum of Jokers. And I'm not saying I don't get my enjoyment out of Joker. Like in the Harley Quinn series, Joker's pretty funny. I got some good laughs out of him, even though I think he's a bit much for that series, and I hated when they brought him back to season 2, because they just gotta keep bringing him back. But there's so much more that you can do, and I'm really curious at this point. Is Warner Brothers saying, hey, you gotta put the Joker in here? Or is it the directors? Are people really asking for the Joker this much?
Well, I think it goes back to the basic white boy fans, honestly, because that's the only villain they really know. So they know that the Joker's going to sell, and so we'll just keep putting him.
I think Joker 2 is that one that people give him more credit for, or they idolize him because he's so opposing to society. He's this grander than life. He's this symbol for our impulsive emotions, which is so shallow. That conversation can be dealt with in 2 minutes. You're not interesting because you want to light fires in the woods. All right, get a hobby or something and stay off the internet. Yeah, this is unfortunately, yeah, the Joker's going to take up some time from another villain that could be used. I was hoping for Mr. Freeze to be in these movies, but Mr. Freeze kind of needs his own movie, and what these movies seem like they're going to be setting up to do, and I'm kind of excited for. They're going to have a power struggle. So they're going to bring in a couple different characters, at least 2 other factions. But I hate that the Joker is going to be one of them. The Harley Quinn series actually did it where the city goes under this apocalypse and the city gets broken up into a couple different places, and they kind of turn it into their own world, but it gets split up in 4 different ways. And that was interesting. So again, this takes away from other characters that could be built, such as Mr. Freeze, who could honestly have his own movie. It doesn't really fit into this power structure. But maybe they can make it work. But hey, we know we gotta spend some time with the Joker.
Really quickly, I just want to point out that I'm pretty sure Superman killed Lois Lane in Injustice. Didn't he bring her up to space?
No.
Kill her pregnant?
What?
Wasn't that Injustice?
No, that wasn't Injustice. Injustice is based on the video games. I know what you're
the
talking
video
about.
games. Okay. I thought you were talking about the movie and the series. I was like, I'm pretty sure Superman took pregnant Lois Lane up to space, eating the crap out of her.
What the heck?
Yeah, check it out. It's pretty
That's
crazy.
not Injustice, though, because the Injustice series was based...
Are you sure?
It came about because of the...
I think we're going to have to look this up in a second. But I do agree with what you said about new villains like Mr. Freeze. I would love a Mr. Freeze movie, or even Poison Ivy. I feel like you can make these villains sort of sympathetic in a way, like Mr. Freeze's wife. He's trying to find a cure, or Poison Ivy, she's trying to save the planet. Even Ra's al Ghul, he's trying to, get these corrupt cities out of, or, destroy these corrupt cities. I mean, obviously, they're all going about it pretty, radically, but, the Joker, he's just, what did Michael Caine say? Some people just want to watch the world burn,
Oh, yeah.
and who can root for a guy like that? I don't know. I can root for a Mr. Freeze or a Poison Ivy, even a semi-sane Ra's al Ghul, but not Joker. I don't know. Or Penguin.
That's another shallow line, though. People just want to watch the world burn, and all of a sudden, all these people, like you said, all these basic people, Caitlyn, just lose their mind and I gotta get that tattooed. Or the whole, we live in a society.
We live in a society.
We live in a society. What is that? Okay, but that became a huge saying and actually made its way back into the Snyder Cut, if I'm not wrong. So, I don't know. People love it. But I think I think we have a good setup, at least, for the ending. Because this is something, like I said, Harley Quinn series explored it, where Gotham went under apocalypse. But Arkham City and Arkham Knight also explore just the whole city or a portion of it become under threat from these villains. So yeah, you can you have so much potential here. So kind of step away from the Joker. I do like what they set up because so many characters that make sense for coming into play now, not just the Penguin, but the Court of Owls, who I really want to see. They can come into play. And the Joker doesn't need to be here for that. But anyway, the Court of Owls can really come into play and try to rebuild the city because it is their city more than anybody else's. Or so they think. The League of Legends seeing an opportunity to come in here and take the city. They're another one. The Black Mask. You can also, Bane can join up with any of those factions. But the Joker, he doesn't work with. So, again, step away from the Joker. I do like what the ending has set up.
I don't, but...
I just want to see I want to see a good Two-Face for one.
I'm really interested in Two-Face. I don't know. I am partial to Mr. Freeze. Personally, I think his backstory is great. Poison Ivy.
Why do you not want to see the Two-Face? He is the embodiment of the duality of man.
Oh no.
I just feel like he's not just
I don't know. I like the flip a
know.
coin. I like the coin flipping. I don't know. I just like it. And just because Batman Forever was my favorite when I was a kid, I really like Tommy Lee Jones in that. Not that I want a Tommy Lee Jones performance, because looking back, no, it was not a good Two-Face performance. But I think Dark Knight, that was what brought down that movie for me, is because I just hated him so much.
I feel like the best portrayal of Two-Face I've seen is, I don't even remember where it's from, but I know it's it's the good and the bad Harvey in one. It's not like they're both bad. They're fighting with each other, and they have to flip the coin to determine which side of them is going to have control in this situation. I like that aspect.
Yeah,
I don't like
I would like that a lot.
flip the coin and then he does something bad anyways.
Yeah, no, I don't like that. But if it truly was like that would be so cool.
Like you got the DA on one side and then the villain on the other, and it's like, oh man, I don't know what to do. I have to flip this coin. There's no other choice.
And Poison Ivy, of course, she's my favorite, so I would love to see her.
Only if she's a redhead, though.
And only if she's a redhead. And Bane. T.O. Bane, not Tom Hardy.
It's never been. I don't think they've ever done him justice. He is, as Bryant was saying, maybe it was Bryant? One of you guys were saying that he's supposed to be a better villain, like a smarter guy. I do not think they've ever done him justice. Like, even Dark Knight Rises, he was much better than the old Bane, but he felt like he was just on Talia's leash. Like, once you figured out it was her,
Same.
it was just like, oh, you're just a puppet, and she's the puppet master.
Yeah, that's what I didn't like as well.
Yeah.
But, like, up until that point, I was like, okay, he's a big, immovable force, so... But moving on to another question, I do want to know what you did like, Coleman, if there was a part that you did like, or what was your favorite part of it.
The police officer Martinez was my favorite part of the movie. He had the best reactions. He acted like a human being, like a police officer. Mm-hmm. He stopped Batman. He was like, where are you going? You can't go in here. You're not a police officer. And then he slowly started to go inside. Like, he was like, what are you doing in here? He was just like, oh, okay, never mind. You can be in here. He just had the most genuine reactions as a character. Everybody else, it seemed like they were playing a character. They were an actor playing a character. Okay. He felt like an actual character in the film.
Oh, yeah, I definitely agree with that. He was fun.
But that was the best part about the film, so keep an eye out for Detective or Police Officer Martinez. He's the best part about the film.
Future detective.
If he stops pissing off Gordon.
Alright, so let's go ahead and get into our letter grade. So, Coleman, being our guest, you might not know, you can give this anywhere from an E to an S tier.
S tier candidate, right?
Oh, S tier candidate, yeah. So, S tiers are typically something that we reserve for films that we really, really love, and if it's a candidate, it means a movie that we've seen for the first time, and down the road, it might have potential for rewatching. A, of course, we really like it, and
Never.
And you can give it pluses or minuses as well. So, I feel like I want Bryant to start us off, because I know he's going to have the highest.
Yeah, this is a candidate for like a B.
I was going to say, I was like, get out. Get out.
No, I wanted this to be an S tier. Really did. I really was looking forward to this movie. It had the potential for everything I really like to see. And watching the film, it had that potential still. It had everything I really want from a Batman film. However, the execution was a bit sloppy, unfortunately, which is so sad to get from an experienced director, this kind of project. So that kind of takes the movie down a bit for me. I was thinking about a B plus because I was originally going to give it an A minus. What brings this down a whole point for me, a 0.5 or a 5% going down to plus or minuses is the Joker. I told myself before I saw this movie, if I see anything about the Joker being teased in this, I'm going to bring my grade down one step. So this actually goes from a B plus to just a B for me. I enjoyed a lot of aspects of this film, and I had a fun time throughout. I think a lot of things were done well. Unfortunately, some things were sloppy, and I'll give it a solid B. I do recommend this movie.
Now, Coleman, you definitely seem to dislike this film, most of the three of us, so what is your letter rank?
D or D plus. I'm torn between a D or a D plus. It wasn't as bad as a film to warrant an E, but I'm not sure it was good enough of a film to warrant a D plus. I had, I don't want to say such high hopes for this film, but I definitely expected better considering, not the hype, but like what had come before. I expected it to be better than the Nolan trilogy, and it was not. So that's why I'm going to have to go with a D. I'm going to give it a solid D.
Yeah, I think for me, if I was purely grading the second hour and a half, maybe I would go a little bit higher. Like I said, that first hour was just so difficult for me to get through. Like, my focus was on everything else that was happening in the theater except for the movie. And that's how I know when I've checked out, you know. And just the camera issues, my eyes were straining in that film because the blurry. I think the focus issues really just took me out of it. I mean, story aside, just the technical issues that it had, I just really took this down for me. So I will say, I'll go a little bit higher than Coleman. I'll say it's a C-.
So do you guys ever enjoy life? Or
Only if Nolan's making films.
Yeah, and I'll say that after rewatching the Nolan trilogy and now watching this, I definitely do have a new appreciation for the trilogy, because I didn't think I liked it that much based off just my memory. I thought that I only liked Rises. But, you know, rewatching The Dark Knight and even rewatching Begins, which I said was one of my least favorite, I'm going back on that and I'm saying I actually kind of enjoyed it. And yeah, I have a new appreciation for that trilogy, especially after watching this one.
So you said rewatching the films, Caitlyn, you had a new admiration for some of the Nolan films. So what we do for these legacy sequels, requels, reboots, remakes, is that we go back and we watch the movies from the franchise. You know, either we watch all of them or some of them. What we originally agreed on was to watch all of the previous Batman films. However, due to time and due to the amount of films, I thought it'd be a better idea just to watch the first. However, I ended up watching a little bit more. Caitlyn and Coleman ended up watching a lot more. So we're going to go ahead and rank the films from what we have seen. No need to go ahead and tell you what we've seen right now and where they're ranked, because you'll know them all when we get to number one. Caitlyn, you want to go ahead and start off?
So that included the Nolan trilogy, it included the 4 movies in the 90s, this movie, Lego Batman, and also Mask of Phantasm, because I could believe that also had a theatrical release. So my lowest one is going to be Lego Batman, which I know is going to be controversial because I know this is very much a loved movie, but for me, there are things in it that I didn't like. The humor wasn't quite there for me, and I think I also made a mistake of watching this after I watched the 90s movies. And for me, I got more laughs out of the 90s movies than I did for Lego Batman. Also, the Batgirl, Bruce relationship, flirtationship, whatever the heck was going on there, lust. That doesn't work for me. So that was automatically an ick for me. Ick factor.
I do have to agree with Caitlyn. That part was not canon for me, although I do know there is some something like that in the actual comics, but for me, it's always been Dick Grayson, Barbara Gordon, or Starfire, depending on how he's feeling that day. But it's almost never been Bruce and Barbara. I thought that was a weird aspect.
No, there's 10 films total in this Batman list of ours. So my second to last would be Mask of Phantasm, which is also a very, very controversial one. For me, I didn't dislike this film. It was a good kids film, but I don't think I fully understand the hype. I think it was a product of its time, but I think for me, going back to the whole idea of Batman's love interests, it's not interesting when it's just some basic girl. And I felt like, okay, she knows she's the Phantasm or whatever, spoilers I guess, but she just kind of felt a little basic to me. After that, I'm going to say Batman and Robin. This was kind of a hard one for me. For me, I didn't see this as a child, so I don't have the nostalgia factor, and I can recognize it's a bad movie, but I also admit that this is an incredibly fun movie, so I kind of don't like putting it that low, but I have other movies that I think are incredibly fun, but it is what it is. It's just hilarious. It's just, I watched it on a bad movie night recently, and it was a good night. After that, I'm going to put the original Michael Keaton Batman movie with the Joker. For me, I enjoyed Jack Nicholson's performance, and that was about all I enjoyed, but I thought this movie was kind of boring to begin with, but it was alright. After that, I'm gonna get these controversies. After that's where I'm gonna put this current Batman film with Robert Pattinson. It's kind of right in the middle, honestly, of where it's in my list. And I think that's where it's gonna sit. We'll see maybe a couple months from now if I still feel the same, but that's where it's gonna sit for now. My number 5 pick is Batman Forever, and this is also a hard one for me because I had to put my personal feelings aside and put where I thought it belonged, because this was my Batman movie growing up. So going off pure nostalgia, this was absolutely my favorite growing up. I liked the colorful Gotham, I liked the direction that Joel Schumacher brought to it to change from the Burton films, and I liked the costume designs, maybe not the Riddler so much, but I did enjoy things about this movie as a child, and it's just funny to watch. I had a good time watching this. I thought it was a fun time, and it was just funny. You can enjoy it. Best line delivery, oh, it's boiling acid. For number 4, I'm gonna put Batman Begins, and this is actually higher than I thought I was going to put it, because I've watched this movie probably about 5 times now, and every time I've watched this movie, I've automatically forgotten it. And I don't know why. I think me and Bryant, we watched this one together the other day, and I think the reason why I'm finally understanding is there's a lot of details in this that can be quickly kind of overlooked. But honestly, I think this rewatch, I do have a new appreciation for it. 3rd place, I'm going to put The Dark Knight. As I said before, I love Heath Ledger's performance in this, but the Two-Face and Rachel storyline in this film completely bring it down for me. I think it's a great film otherwise, but that's why it's in my 3rd place, where I think for a lot of people it's going to be their 1st place pick. My number 2 pick is going to be Batman Returns. Like I said, Batman Forever is my favorite of the older Batman movies, but I feel like Batman Returns has so much iconic moments of it. I think Michelle Pfeiffer performance as Catwoman was absolutely iconic. There's some great lines. This was also the Batman movie that terrified me as a child, because Danny DeVito biting off a guy's nose was absolutely terrifying. And I just really loved it. There were some good lines. It was very adult in parts that I didn't notice as a child. But overall, I think this is an iconic film, and it's just fun to laugh at. I've had a good time with it in this rewatch. And my number 1 pick, and the only Batman movie I would say I truly love as a film, and this is not going to be at the top of many people's list, I know, and it's going to be The Dark Knight Rises. This movie is incredibly flawed, and I'll take that. I think Talia's character was not good in this film. But the things that I love in this movie, I really, really love. I loved Anne Hathaway in this movie. I love Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and I love Gary Oldman's performance. This really was their movie, even more so than Batman. I think the story of Bruce Wayne being an older Batman, being a more worn down Batman, and having to rise back up to the role was iconic. The whole rise scene was iconic. The chemistry between Bruce Wayne and Catwoman was iconic. There's just so much I love in this movie, and that's why it's my number 1 pick. And maybe that's because Batman isn't my favorite character, and Batman isn't really a focus in this movie, but I liked it. The plot's a little bit comic-y, but I liked the scale of it. It felt like it was a larger scale. And I do want to say that my ranking will be on my Letterboxd for those of you that follow it. And for those of you who don't follow it, I'll be giving you that information at the end of our podcast.
Okay, so for my list, I'm going to have to put the first Batman as the lowest movie for me. I not a big Michael Keaton fan, not a big Jack Nicholson fan, not a particular fan of older movies, so like just the whole thing was just not my type of movie. My second to last rating, the movie I liked the least after the first Batman is this current Batman, the Batman. I think it might have something to do with the expectations I had for it after watching the Nolan films and all the previous Batmans, but I was pretty disappointed in this movie, so it definitely is lower for me, despite being the newest Batman. Number 8 in this category, the 3rd least liked movie, is Batman Forever. I just watched it a few days ago, but I could not tell you exactly what happens in it, so anything that forgetful. All I remember in that movie is the love interest, Chase, Dr. Chase. I thought she was
Horny for Babette.
Yeah, well, she was horny for Batman and Bruce Wayne. She couldn't make up her mind. Whoever Batman was or Bruce Wayne was in that moment, she did not want them. She wanted whoever the other person was. So I think that stood out for me most in that. Number 4, my least favorites, is Mask of the Phantasm. Phantasm. It was a good movie, but I do think there were other movies that I liked more than that. I did actually have a difficult time putting that between number 4 and number 5. Number 5 would be Lego Batman. I thought it was a little funnier than perhaps Caitlyn thought, but it definitely was not the Batman that I was used to, specifically with the Barbara romance. I thought that was very odd and very unlike the comics. I'm used to Dick Grayson being with Barbara or Starfire, depending on the day. Number 6 would be Batman and Robin. I did not think that was as bad as a movie as most people claim it was. I thought it was a fun movie. I did like that they used Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy. Two villains which we don't get enough screen time for. It was a little over the top. It was a little colorful, but I also liked that included Batwoman or Batgirl in there, not Batwoman. I thought that was interesting, but definitely not the best movie again. For number 7, I would have to choose Batman Returns. I really enjoyed Catwoman in that movie. I think it was the second best adaptation of Catwoman in live action, far better than this Catwoman, far better. I think the chemistry between them was perfect. I really enjoyed the chemistry between Batman and Catwoman in this. Although, like Caitlyn, Danny DeVito was quite terrifying in this movie. I was not a fan of that as a child. I do remember watching that as a child and being quite terrified. So my third is The Dark Knight, which I know is everybody's favorite Nolan movie, but it just wasn't for me specifically. I preferred, for my second choice, I preferred Batman Begins. I liked the origin story in that. I liked learning about Batman for, not the first time, but like his origin story told through Nolan. I appreciated that. And for my first choice, I really enjoyed Rises along with Caitlyn. I thought Anne Hathaway and Christian Bale were stars in that movie. I feel like their chemistry was perfect. It's more than I expected. I expected that movie to be good. It exceeded my expectations, which is not something that happened with most of the movies on this ranking. I'd also like to give a shout out to Ben Affleck's Batman because he did a great job. Better than I expected, again. So, I know he's not in any particular solo Batman movie, but I feel like he deserves credit for his portrayal of Batman in his movies.
I find it interesting. You guys didn't care for the plot that was set up in the Batman for the next films of the Apocalypse, Gotham, but Dark Knight Rises had that same thing for most of the film. The Gotham Apocalypse, somebody else has taken over Gotham. Gotham being overthrown.
Yeah, but this was not an interesting
You're saying
movie.
the Batman had that?
That's what it's set up for, that apocalypse, for that to be overthrown. You say you guys weren't.
Oh, I didn't feel like it was.
I did not feel like it was set that up either.
No.
They literally said Gotham's up for grabs. The power is up for grabs.
Yeah, but I didn't think Apocalypse.
I mean,
okay.
Is it up for grabs if it's such a small scale?
I thought it was just like, oh, the Penguin's gonna grab it.
Yeah,
that's all
there's
I
gonna be
really
like
heard.
5 gunmen.
I saw something different
And they're
there.
gonna grab Gotham or something. I don't know.
Okay. So, for my films, I didn't get to watch as many films as Caitlyn and Coleman. Unfortunately, I focused mainly on the first. I was able to watch an additional one. Also, The Dark Knight and Lego Batman, I've seen enough times that I don't need to go back and revisit it. Actually, my uncle put on Dark Knight, and then I'm watching another hour of that. So and I really do want to watch Dark Knight Rises again, and I was hoping to before this podcast, but I'm home right now, and there's a lot of things that I've been doing and have to do. Didn't get the time to watch that movie, but I have a plan for that one. So starting off my list, starting at the bottom, number 6 for me, and this is the only one on the list that I actually disliked. Actually, not even just dislike, I hated this film. Caitlyn, you asked me before if nostalgia took place in The Matrix for me, and I said I was not a nostalgic person. I think this proves it because I loved this film as a kid. I have fond memories of this film for many reasons. And I watched this film last night, I believe. I hated Batman Forever. I really did. There's so much I dislike about this movie. I did not like the direction at all. I have fond memories of Jim Carrey as the Riddler. I was with people who were saying, hey, we want Jim Carrey back for the Riddler. I wasn't saying I want him back, but I understood why people loved him. He annoyed me in this movie. I thought Tommy Lee Jones, from what I remember, he played a good Two-Face. No, I hated him even more. The only thing that I hated more than these two were these two together. I wanted to turn this off so bad. I stuck in there. This movie was just so loud to me. Not only just Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones yelling, but there were random side characters yelling. I'll give you one thing. The "is boiling acid." That was hilarious. But then, yeah, there were other side characters yelling. The way that they framed the buildings and how up close they were, that felt loud. The colors they used were loud. This movie was just a migraine for me. I'll give it one thing, one positive thing. And that is, I liked what they were trying to do with Bruce Wayne and him having these demons that were coming about. He had these oppressed memories. I thought that was interesting. That was something I would have liked to see and explore. That's something I was hoping was explored in the Batman. But other than that, this movie was, I don't know what this is about.
It's about bisexuality, Bryant.
I don't care what the metaphor is. I'm gonna lose my voice just ranting about this film. So I'm just gonna move on and get all these out. But I'm gonna say one more time, I hated that film. I was not expecting it. I was looking forward to watching it. God, it was a film that I wasn't really too excited to watch, but I was interested in. And I actually ended up liking more than I thought I was. Enjoying it more was Batman, the Tim Burton, 1989. Caitlyn, I know you texted us and said that you were bored watching it. I found myself not really bored. I was expecting to be bored because I knew this was a movie of its time. I knew that it was a Tim Burton movie, not so much as Returns was, but this has some issues, and I've seen some clips going since I watched this as a child and maybe as a teenager. But there are problems in this film, but it works for what it was trying to do. It has a lot of issues, but I think it's still a solid film. One thing I'd like to mention, I love the Prince soundtrack. I'm surprised you guys, a bunch of uncultured people, didn't mention.
No,
Batman.
it was such a terrible movie, I couldn't even focus on it. How you felt about Forever, that was me with Batman, the Batman.
Yeah. No, you didn't feel the same.
Kinda.
Almost. There were some things that we could say, like, I liked one little thing about, okay, I'm going to step away from Forever. Alright, next one. And this one I actually really like. I actually really like this film, but I had to rank it a little bit lower because it is not a completely solid film. I think the third act falls off a little bit. It gets a little too ridiculous. And that's Lego Batman. I think Lego Batman is a great parody. I think there's enough for any type of Batman fan to find a laugh. I do think, Caitlyn, you're right. I think watching it after watching Forever and the other wacky Batmans does diminish this a little bit. Like I said, we're watching Forever and I was thinking about Lego Batman. I didn't want to watch Lego Batman after this. I was kind of done with this wackiness. But there's a lot of great jokes in this movie. Another aspect of this movie I liked is that I think it's the only one to really have an emotional side of Batman, a sad Batman, which I understand nobody really wants to see. But I think it's the one time that I really felt for Batman. Like, this actually invoked this actually invoked emotion from me. I sympathize for the character. Didn't get all teary-eyed or everything, but this plucked the heartstrings for me in Lego Batman. So I respected that. But the third act gets a little crazy. Warner Brothers starts throwing everything in there. Some of it works. Some of it doesn't work. The next one for me is one that we rewatched together, Caitlyn, is Batman Begins. I was excited to watch this movie. I was more excited to watch this movie than you were. You were not looking forward to rewatching this at all. So I enjoyed it. I was interested to see Scarecrow. Scarecrow is one of my favorite villains in Batman's, in all the Batman properties. Really like the Scarecrow. I wish there was more of him in it. I'm glad to hear that he was in Dark Knight Rises because I completely forgot about that, but I'm starting to remember a little bit. He was in Dark Knight for like a second. I think this film, though, also had some issues. I think they hit some superhero tropes in there, and there were a couple stumbles. I think some things weren't fully explored, but I think Christopher Nolan does a great job, and something I hope Matt Reeves does, where he went in and polished it and tightened some things up. The next for me, I know you guys are going to hate me for it, the next for me is The Batman. The Batman, I've already said enough about this movie. I really did enjoy this movie. This movie has some hiccups. It was not perfectly executed, but the parts that I really liked, same with Begins. I don't think Begins was a perfectly executed film. So looking at what I enjoyed more, those peak moments, I had more of those peak moments in The Batman than I did in Batman Begins. And the last for me is going to be it's going to be The Dark Knight. This is a solid film. I don't think it's the ultimate film. I don't think it's the best film ever created, like people say, and it's been on IMDb, high up there. But I do think this is a greatly made film, and as of right now, it stands as my number one. As far as The Dark Knight Rises, I was surprised to hear you guys say, well, not surprised, but to hear you guys say Dark Knight Rises is your favorite and hear you speak so fondly of it, especially about things that I don't really remember. I do want to revisit this film. So what I plan to do is to actually watch this film and put it into my ranking. However, I'm not going to call everybody back for a podcast, especially you, Coleman. I'm going to save you for the Schindler's List episode. So what I'm going to do for The Dark Knight Rises, and as far as my ranking, I'm going to post it up on our social media. So make sure to go ahead, check us out and everything. We'll give you that information at the end of the show. But that's where I'll go ahead and post my ranking for that. And actually, I'm going to watch Mask of Phantasm just because I want to revisit that movie. I remember looking at that movie fondly, but I can see why, Caitlyn, like you said, it would be a product of its time. So I'm interested in revisiting those. Returns, I'm going to save for Batman 2, whenever that comes out in a couple years. So stick with us, and we'll do Batman Returns. Batman and Robin, I don't know. I couldn't handle Batman forever. I may need these couple years to forget what I saw to go to Batman and Robin. So Batman and Robin and Returns, that'll be for the Batman 2 or the Wayne, whatever they want to call it. They're making another one.
I don't know. If they listen to this podcast, they're going to be like, wow, 2 out of 3 people don't like this movie.
Well, actually, I'm going to see this movie again. Devin and I are going to go ahead and watch it. And I'm seeing it in IMAX. So they're getting more money from us.
I hope Devin doesn't like it. I hope
I know,
Devin's like,
same.
I hate this movie. This is terrible.
No. I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. But those are where the rankings are. Pretty different lists, or at least myself, separate from the others.
Some bad taste.
I'm just going to leave that there.
Yeah, I don't know if... No, I mean, I know why I don't like it. But it also doesn't help that this is getting wonderful reviews online.
Is it?
Yeah, everyone's saying this is the best Batman movie ever.
One of the best superhero
Do
films.
we have bad taste?
So I'm just like, I feel like in such a minority. I know it was overhyped, so maybe that ruined my expectation a little bit. But like I said, that first half was unwatchable, and I'm surprised I didn't get a headache through some of it.
I definitely came out there with a headache.
Yeah, Coleman actually got a headache from watching this movie.
Which is probably why I do not like it as much as I don't.
Well, I'm glad Coleman was here for you, Caitlyn, because I kind of left you this time in the curve. Because we both like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the new one, and everybody hated that one. Now everybody loves this film. I'm with it, but at least Coleman is here to support you. And I got the other million people to support me.
I don't know. I feel like anytime now I see a movie go one way or another on Twitter, I just know I'm going to be the exact opposite.
Yeah, Twitter. I don't trust Twitter reviews. I was looking at the Rotten Tomatoes and seeing some other reviews about it and some other headlines. I try to stay away from most of it. One of the people that I do watch a lot of, they have a review of the film. I just know of the score they gave, and it sounds like they do have some complaints about the film, so I'm looking forward to hearing their review. They usually provide an honest review ourselves. Also, sorry for my voice. Kind of woke up with a sore throat. It's starting to give out. I'm holding in. Batman voice is coming out. That's how much I really like this film. Changing my voice.
I don't know. I think that means the Batman gave you a headache. My eyes been kind of twitching a little bit. Brian's losing his voice. Something about this movie.
but I'm down with it.
So, I mean, I think this is pretty self-explanatory for our next section, but do we want more of this franchise of this? Well, let me ask it this way. Do we want more Batman in the Robert Pattinson trilogy, or would we want more Batman with different actors and direction?
I'm a little tired of them rebooting everything. I wish they would just, like I know you can't stick with one actor for the rest of their life. Although, that's why I say they need a younger Bruce Wayne so we can watch him grow through the films. But I understand that would be difficult. Life is unpredictable. I wouldn't mind Robert Pattinson or these actors specifically staying in their roles. I just need them to be better. I need better acting. I need something more. It just can't be the same movie as this last one, or I don't want more. Or I want you to just reboot it in that case.
God dang right I want more. Yeah, that's obvious that I want more from this particular trilogy or quadrilogy, whatever they're planning to do with this reboot. I'm interested to see more. Now, as far as them going ahead and rebooting this in the next 10 years, because I think it's been 10 years since the last one finished up. So next 10 or 15 years, like I said before with this, it's not needed or wanted, but it is welcomed. I think there's still more that can be told in Batman. I'm pretty sure that the Batman, when this finishes up, there's going to be more to explore. There's so much Batman to still see. So I'll still be interested to see what they come up with next in both this running and in the next to come.
I definitely, I'm not really looking forward to a sequel to this. And I do want to say something. I'm so tired of both DC and Marvel universes just hating the source material that this came from. And they do it in different ways. You can tell in different ways. Marvel just goes completely off book when it comes to their source material. But DC, we have this, we need this grounded story. And I'm like, well, there's some things that are going to be a little bit more fantastical. And that's okay. It builds character to these villains, to these heroes. And so I don't need it to be completely grounded to like this movie. So I don't know. I just feel like the source material's there for a reason. It's applauded for a reason. And I'm tired of these franchises just completely wanting to go in an opposite direction. But what I would like to see from a Batman film in the future at some point would be a Batman Beyond type film. That's something I would actually like to see. I need older Bruce Wayne with someone else taking that legacy, whether it's Terry McGinnis or Dick Grayson. I want those characters. I want those stories to be told because that's something that we still just haven't seen on screen. And it's something I really want to see.
Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't brought in the Bat family, seeing how many spin-off movies you can make. I'm surprised because I mean, that's what Sony's doing with Spider-Man, and Batman actually makes more sense for them to do it with Batman. When you say that you're tired of these comic books not sticking with the source material, I definitely agree with Marvel. When you say it now, are you talking about this movie in particular, or are you talking about DC as a whole? Because I don't see how this movie tarnished the source material. I don't see what it did.
Oh, I think it did completely, because I feel, like I said, this whole idea that it needs to be grounded. We can't have anything too silly in these movies. I mean, Nolan trilogy was the same. It suffered from the same thing. It was just that all personality from these characters are gone. Like I said, these characters felt monotone because they were so afraid to make anything silly or fantastical that they just made them so boring to me.
I would say that this still sticks with the source material. It depends what source material you're looking at, because I would say that the new 52 Batman is like this character. The Batman, I don't think you can have this fantastical and everything. And I mean, I understand what you're saying. That's the kind of Batman you want. And I understand that. You like that, the forevers, the returns.
I like my characters to have personalities. Okay, fine. If you are like Bryant and don't like your characters to have personalities, go ahead and read and stick to that source material and that Batman interpretation.
No, you're not talking about personalities, though. I'm talking about personalities. You just said fantastical elements.
And a lot of that is involved with their personalities of these villains.
But what is the Batman missing as far as the fantasy?
Literally,
why does it need the fantasy? Fantasy doesn't tie to Batman. It ties to the bonkers Golden Age Batman, but it doesn't. Not all of the Batman stories are fantastical, crazy, wacky. So
I'm aware of that, but the Penguin is one of those characters that, it has a little bit of silliness to it, whichever way you look to it. And I understand wanting to make it more grounded, but this, like I said, he could be replaced with any other mob boss in this universe, and it would have still worked. Catwoman could have replaced with any other femme fatale type character, and it still would have been not Catwoman, just any other girl. Like, there was nothing that made those characters stand out from any other character that you could have replaced them with.
Yeah, I think this Penguin, granted, he wasn't the Penguin that... Again, I think we're thinking of different things, and we've just seen different aspects of Batman, because this Penguin fits, I would say, with the Arkham series. Actually, the Batman, it can pull a lot from that Arkham game series, which was a great series as far as character development goes and grounding things while still keeping characters to their core source. I don't think this needs to be that. I don't think it needs to be that fantastical and magical. I think that is an option. I don't think it's fair to say that is the source.
I mean, but we've had this sort of Nolan trilogy where he refused to have a Robin in his film because he didn't want it and he thought that was too silly. And there's things that these directors are purposely staying away from because they don't want to be silly. They don't want the general audience, to associate this movie with a comic book or anything that's comic.
Yeah, I think that's unfair to say about this movie.
Coleman, what's your opinion?
Well, obviously I'm going to have to agree with Caitlyn on this. I also disagree that this movie sticks close to the new 52 Batman. I feel like the new 52 Batman is a lot less grounded. Like, more grounded than he has been in the past, but a lot less grounded than the Batman.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to relate him to this, the Batman. Actually, I'll say if any property come close to this, the Batman, it's the Arkham game series. I was just saying the new 52 is more grounded than his previous, like, golden age self. Okay. I'm just saying there's multiple sources to be taken from to say that it's not close to the source. What is the source? It's a man that's dressed like a bat. There's multiple ways of going about it.
I don't know. I feel like the personalities definitely were not what I was expecting. I do agree with Caitlyn as, like, you could replace almost anybody in that film with anybody else and it would still be the same film because their acting was pretty flat. Trying to think of something to agree with you, Bryant, and I just can't think of anything at the moment.
But do you think that this movie tarnished the source material for not being fantastical or being a little bit silly?
Not in that way specifically, but I do think that they went their own way, kind of like with the Thomas and Martha Wayne sort of story. I feel like they changed it to where it's no longer true to the source material in a way. The Nolan films, I feel like they stuck to the source material in a way, even though they were a little more grounded than they had, well, a lot more grounded than they were in the past. But I feel like this movie, it changed certain aspects of it to where it's no longer true to the source material, and it's also not a very good film, unlike the Nolan films, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I don't mean that they tarnish the source material. I just think that these directors are so afraid of touching the source material that they have to make something that they think that basic Batman bros will like.
I already said my piece on it. I don't think that's fair to say about this movie, and I don't think the directors are really doing that. And Marvel, yes, Marvel does that with their source material. I think DC, and actually that's another reason why I was excited for this movie. I think Warner Brothers actually gives more space for their directors to do things with their films than other studios, for better and for worse. We talked about Matrix Resurrections and how the Wachowskis honestly shouldn't have been directing that movie at all, or the one Wachowski shouldn't have been directing, or the studios should have been in there to bring them back. But I think as far as DC, they let them go and they let them do their own thing, and I think it works whatever direction they're going into. You're talking about they don't want to get silly. We just watched The Suicide Squad and they brought in Starro and they made it work for their type of tone and their type of film that they're working for. So I think there's a bunch of different ways that you can go about it, but I don't think it's right to say that they're opposing the source material.
I mean, I'm not saying that, like, Suicide Squad, not every film, but for Batman films historically, that has been a problem. Because it was a problem with Nolan's. Even though I love Nolan's Batman films, he was afraid of the source material. He didn't want to be too silly. And he just wanted to do what he wanted to do. This director seems to be doing the same exact thing, but he's not as good of a filmmaker as Nolan is. And Nolan's not even my favorite filmmaker of all time. I have issues with some of Nolan's films, but he did well with the Batman series. But I feel like, yes, you can have your own tone, your old story, but there's some things that just don't work. Your characters need to have character, and this just wasn't there.
So what about, you say historically though, but Tim Burton and Schumacher's Batmans, they were totally comic book. And actually,
they wanted to walk away from that. The whole idea, the Nolan shift was that they didn't want to do that anymore. They wanted a grounded Batman. Just now, we're finally getting some more lighthearted ones with, I'll give it credit to Birds of Prey being the one that opened that up for James Gunn and the Suicide Squad to have a more fun superhero movie, because the Snyderverse, they were more gritty, more dark. I don't say that they were completely realistic, but it was the direction that DC started going towards after the Nolan films started. I said, I really do like the Nolan films, but he didn't want to make a comic book movie. And I think that works. I think you can definitely make a movie with comic elements, but I don't think it worked for Batman.
I do have to agree. I do think they are getting more and more grounded, like more realistic. Like, this is probably the most realistic, so to speak, Batman, because he didn't have the fantastic gadgets and the fighting was a little more realistic. The plot was a little more realistic.
He couldn't even glide.
Yeah, well, besides his damage, the amount of damage he took, that was... Yeah, but I don't know if that's what other people are looking for, but personally, I want a little more character in my characters. Like Caitlyn said, I feel like that was severely lacking in this film.
I think we're discussing two different topics. So, I'm talking about the source material. As far as the character's personality and everything, yeah, I want my characters to have more personality. I'm not debating that. As far as this film opposing source material, that's what I don't agree on. But with the character, yeah, I would like more personality to my character. I think this film could have had more personality to the character. I don't think that has anything to do with the source material and the silliness and the phantasm of it. I think those are two separate points.
I don't think so. I mean, we're going to talk about Marvel. I don't want to go too far into Marvel. But if you talk about a character like the Scarlet Witch, who is completely different from her material, like the only thing that's similar between MCU Scarlet Witch and comic Scarlet Witch is that they share a name, and that's literally it. And you can't say that that's honoring the source material. In this regards, you have a woman who's supposed to be Catwoman, you have a character who's supposed to be Penguin, and literally nothing matches the source material at all between these characters. So you can't say that the source material's there when it's just not. It's not. It's a completely different character.
It is there. I just related. Again, it's whatever source material you're looking at. Like I said, this matches. It depends what source. What is?
You're reading some boring Batman books then.
No, it depends. There's so much. He's been around since the 40s. So what Batman? What is your source material then? Let me know what is your source material. So I just said this matches the Arkham games and like the way that they set it up. So that's my source material.
I mean, I haven't seen a single Batman franchise or comic book or anything where the Catwoman isn't somewhat cat-like.
And again, I saw more of that cat-like in it. But again, what is it? What is the source that you're looking at?
Different source material. I'm not going to point to just one thing.
All right, give 3. Just name 3.
I feel like the modern comics are what I'm basing this on, if not like just the more modern series, whatever series you're looking at, or more modern movies. I feel like I haven't played any of the Arkham games, so I know nothing about
I don't know
the source material for that. But as far as I know, in the comics, whatever movies, the series, recently, none of that was, well, almost none of that besides like symbols were present in this film. And as far as like personalities and characters not being part of the source material, I feel like if you're not bringing the comic version of these characters to the screen, like you are kind of like getting away from the source material. Unless, like you said, they're basing it on the Arkham game, which I think is a foolish choice considering some people don't play games. I never play games, so I would have no idea it was based on that. Maybe if I played the game, I'd like it more. Since you played the game, you like it more. So maybe that's where our disagreement comes with. I don't know where they're getting the source from, but it's not from the comics I've been reading, the movies I've been watching, the series I've been watching. I didn't see any of that in this film.
Okay, turning it back. Not trying to pressure you, Caitlyn. Like I'm just.
No, he's trying to gatekeep. I'm not a big Batman fan, so I don't know the characters.
No, but that's the thing. So why? Honestly, yeah. Like Coleman, I'm not gonna ask him like what is. He just gave me his source material. That's all I'm wondering is what source material. Like where is your baseline coming from?
All
for
of
these
the
characters?
animated series, the comics that I've read. I've read some of the more modern ones, but not the completely. But when DC had that relaunch, I've also read some more classic Batman comics. Any of the previous movies that were there. I mean, there's source material there, and there are similarities, characters that line up that are basic essentials for these characters.
That's all I was wondering was your source material.
Not the Arkham game. I'm sorry, I haven't played the Arkham game.
No, and
at
maybe
this
we
point,
need to play it.
I say at this point, it seems like the Batman is just an Arkham game interpretation instead of a Batman movie.
Which, I mean, I guess it's good for people who played the game.
No,
but like,
I'm not saying that's the source that is based on. I'm saying it is similar to that, but what I'm also saying is there's so many different sources and creating something that's different. I just don't think this opposes. And again, the Catwoman, we have different perspectives of what a Catwoman is. Because I think this was a perfect Catwoman. I think this was perfect.
Perfect. Oh, dear
Wow,
Lord.
that's
Wow.
that's a statement.
I think this was a fantastic Catwoman. And like I said, there was things that I saw that you guys didn't see, whether they actually exist or they didn't exist.
Yeah, you're looking up catfight videos.
I know. I'm sorry. When I see my cats fight, it's just like a paw that comes up, and they just kind of stay there and whack.
I just think for the source material, you should stick as close as you can to the comics. Obviously, you can venture out, but you shouldn't be basing it off of a game. I think that's...
No, I'm not even saying the game. I mean, look...
But you're saying that's the closest to the source material for this movie?
I would say it could, probably the closest. I'm not saying that's where it's getting it from, but also look at Gotham, that series. Look how that started. I mean, what was so Penguin about that Penguin? Just his nose, right? So that's what the essential Penguin character is just a nose.
But also that was based on James Gordon. I don't think you can really build much from the Batman comics off of James Gordon, considering he's a supporting character as as much as he can be. Again, even if it's not directly based on the games, I think it being as close to the games as it is, I think that was a mistake. I think they should have maybe not stuck to the other movies. You shouldn't just copy what Nolan does or copy the old movies. I don't think that's the right idea. But like the comics, the acclaimed TV series, you should be using that as a foundation to build upon. You shouldn't just do what they did.
I think Nolan, too, that even though his characters were grounded, he did have good character design. Like, they were actually outfits and thought that put into what the appearance looked like, too, and I didn't even see that in this.
I saw that in this movie.
I agree. Catwoman's outfit was literally... I didn't like her mask. I really disliked her mask.
I feel like at times she wasn't even wearing an outfit. She was just wearing whatever leather thing she got in her closet, and then she just put this robber mask on.
Covered up a quarter of her face.
My thing is also, we got that Catwoman already. So why do...
Because it worked. Michelle Pfeiffer and Anne Hathaway, they completely worked.
Yeah, and we've seen it twice. So why not have something different? I mean, you're complaining about these movies being offensive to the source material for making something new or for basing it off of an off project or a spin-off that's not as well known. But why do we want to continue the same movie? At that point, it's like, it's much like the fans that we're having issues with right now that, oh no, this isn't my Batman. This isn't my fandom that I knew and grew up with.
But it's not about that. You can make it different, but you gotta make it interesting.
Yeah, it's kind
of. And that's where this is where Biss failed.
He experimented, as you say he does, and he failed. I think he failed his experiment. I think he should either try again or hand it off to the next director who can do it better.
Yeah, especially once you said that he did the Planet of the Apes series, because that went downhill fast, that series. The first one was good, and then the rest, awful.
I only watched the first two, so I didn't enjoy the second one that much. Never watched the third one.
Your favorite director now?
No. Like I said, this movie has some issues. Honestly, that's the only thing. The only thing I really hardly disagree with is the statement about the source. But
it's just these creators are going on record saying they want something more grounded,
and means I'm open for it because it's different.
More grounded than the source material. That's what they're saying. And
like, if they can do it right, I would not be opposed. But so far, I think Nolan is the only one who's come close.
Yeah.
I think this is too grounded. This is too... It's not... I feel like it's not Batman. It's just a guy in a batsuit. It's not Batman.
I feel like even the story, to a degree, could be anybody. Any detective.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's literally a guy in a batsuit. It's like... I mean, I guess essentially that's what Batman is, but it's not like a Batman film, so to speak. It could have been The Detective. They could have called it The Detective.
And like even I said, the setup with the mask on the face and the riddles and stuff like that, we've seen that over and over again in crime films. So that wasn't even two films. It was just unique to this particular Batman film. It was a generic crime film, detective film, with happened to have random characters that were saying, okay, this is Catwoman, this is Penguin. Yeah. But obviously, we're not going to fully agree on this film. We have very different opinions for this, but we do look forward to hearing your opinion on this film. You can reach out to us on our social media. We're on Twitter and Instagram at OpSilverScreen. We're also on Facebook as Operation Silver Screen, but once again, Twitter and Instagram, that's going to be OpSilverScreen. Like I said, also look out for our letterboxes because we're going to be posting our ranking of these Batman films. You can find me on Coffee Spoon Kate, that's capital C-A-I-T. Bryant, you can find at Swank Seal, that's capital S, capital S. And we also just want to thank Coleman for being our guest today. Do you have anything you want to say before you leave?
Definitely check out Justice League Snyderverse. It's worth the watch, even though it's really long.
That's good news. I will check it out. So thanks for joining with us this week. If you like the podcast, please leave us a review on our podcast page and also give us comments on our social media. And also do be sure to support our core episodes, our core objectives, where we review must-see films that me and Bryant have not yet seen. All right, thanks for sticking along with us. Bye.